Hello everybody and welcome back to another day of Monday Live on a Monday where we're here to talk about Altered today.
The TCG?
The TCG is currently on, is it Kickstarter or Gamefound? It's on, here it is, Kickstarter. It's on Kickstarter, so we're going to talk about that. There's been a lot of conversations about this particular TCG across all of tabletop, which it bears discussion because it is probably the most ambitious thing that's happened for a long time. Yep. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about digital integration in general for like games and you know, pros and cons.
Digital and tabletop.
Who it's for, maybe who it's not for. Are these two old men on the camera ever going to pick up a phone to scan a QR code? That is the real question we're asking today. Then we're also going to cover news for all of the games that we support. You can find those on our website. A lot of news to cover today. And then lastly, we're going to take a lot of the cards from the Earthborne Gamefound from Path of the Ancestors, Path of the Valley? Stewards of the Valley? From Stewards of the Valley, not Legacy of the Ancestors, Stewards of the Valley. We're going to build a couple of new Earthborne Rangers decks just to get those cards out for a spin and see what it's like to start using them and thinking through some ideas as far as how to build those new
Tomorrow's
decks.
The last day for the Gamefound?
Tomorrow's the last day for the Gamefound. 834,000 has been gained.
Yeah, we're nearing Andrew's nearing double or I guess Earthborne Games is nearing double the original.
That's right.
Crowdfunding, which is impressive.
Yeah, and you know what's fascinating about this here discussion, we've got two people who were involved in Asmodee in various ways. So Andrew, as head of studio at Fantasy Flight Games, goes out and does his own thing. And then we have Altered, which is, they did a really good, I really like that intro video. This is, I just had it up. Oh my gosh.
Like a very famous board game designer, right?
Yes. Okay, so publisher of Dixit, Mysterium, and the designer of Dice Forge and Seasons goes out and is now doing Altered as essentially kind of an independent project, but is heavily partnered from the get with Asmodee for all the distribution and kind of marketing and all that kind of stuff.
I remember seeing exclusive worldwide distribution.
Yeah. Yeah, so
that's another topic that we'll get into.
Asmodee doing it. So let's talk about Altered. So this game is all the rage, all the talk right now.
There's some important context here. How many people are backing it currently?
7,235 people.
Total funding so far?
$2.751 million.
How many days left?
16 days to go.
Okay, so this is on track to be the most funded and backed TCG ever.
And good news, they hit their goal of 53,000. So the game can get made. In the grand scheme of things.
I was nervous for them. No, I'm just kidding. It's worth talking about because the record holder currently is Sorcery.
Yeah, that's true.
For the most successful, just in terms of funding amount, TCG ever. Mm-hmm. And that is part of what gets this on the radar, regardless of any other topic, is you have this evolution of funded TCGs that really started coming down the pipe. 2020, pandemic hits, TCGs go crazy. Kickstarter, MetaZoo. We talked about MetaZoo last week. And this is notable. Whatever your take on this is a very notable moment.
And as expected, I'll give it to you for making a fairly easy prediction, but the right one, that after the success of the early TCGs around the pandemic, everybody took notice with the big money. And so you get Lorcana, you get Star Wars Unlimited, and you get Altered. I think this is considered a big money project in my mind.
If you go back three and a half years ago, put it on the board of what we were talking about. It's like spreadsheet says yes. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people, indie, very small publishers who are going to try to take advantage of this. There's also going to be the big teams. And I don't know when Star Wars Unlimited started getting developed. I don't know when. I know some of these games were even pre that moment. I don't know when Altered started. Yeah. Whether it's before or after. But TCG, going through crowdfunding, exclusive worldwide distribution through Asmodee. Mm-hmm. But there's some really unique things that they're doing.
There are some unique elements. The first thing that you'll notice is that there's QR codes at the basically on the cards, on the face of the cards themselves. So the bottom right corner, there's that QR code. And I think that immediately sets a tone, sets a precedent around the game that says, hey, this is something different and this is something digital. So there's a QR code, you're going to scan that for some reason. We played Warhammer Champions from PlayFusion about, what was that, many years ago. Mm-hmm. I still love that game. I miss that game so much. I miss it so much. I wish that it was still here. It's the only time I've engaged with Warhammer as an IP.
You were like
I thought the gameplay was phenomenal. The card scanning system was intuitive and easy. You just laid them out. They didn't have QR codes or anything on them. The borders had a certain thing to them, and you scanned them and it added them to your collection. Inevitably, that game got, what I think happened was they crossed the threshold of physical viability for this game doesn't exist, but digital still does. So we're just going to go down the digital path, and then that collapsed effectively as well. And you got to ask, if you offer a digital product that is superior to the physical product, or at least on par, because it's so much easier to engage with, are you naturally going to shift buying habits from paper to digital? And what are the advantages, disadvantages of that? Yeah.
I think another piece of that for Champions that they, in my mind, made a error strategically, which is they pushed competitive organized play in person, and they were doing like cash prizes and stuff, and that was like the last gasp. And then they were using the online client for campaign story kind of mode, which makes some sense because you can do campaign things on an app that you can't do in person. But the reason I think it doesn't work is that when you aren't a giant company with a giant, like you're not Magic, right, with this giant audience, having a competitive game when you're smaller is really tough.
Because people have to, no matter what,
physically get together, and then there are enough people physically getting together for it to be relevant. I think Champions was too small. So like the first turnout for their first cash prize event was, I think, 15, 20 people.
Right.
Which was not enough to be giving away $20,000 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, if you flip that script, I think most people that play card games in person are usually doing it like kitchen table style, even if they're playing not at the kitchen table.
Yeah. Kitchen table.
Yeah, it's like Magic as the great example. I think it commonly held belief, and again, I'm talking out of my depth here, but is how important Commander and Friday Night Magic is to Magic, which is not really about the competitive or the tournaments necessarily. And so that was sort of a mismatch too. And it was this weird...
Well, it speaks to the fact that I don't think we figured out where the right balance is between digital and physical when it comes to this kind of product. I mean, it's very... So I'll give you the take, the direct take from me, which you would immediately understand, given the sweater that I'm wearing, the exact kind of take you're about to get.
Or this lamp.
A balding, sweater-wearing man with a Tiffany lamp behind him is going to say the following every single time. I get into card games because I don't want anything digital involved whatsoever. This is my oasis from everything else in my life that is constantly pulling my attention away with notifications and zings and tweets and all of those, or X's or whatever, all those kinds of things. Constantly your attention is getting ripped to a million pieces. Everybody's texting you, calling you. You're looking at you got the dopamine thing, and you're trying to. All that's happening, but the moment that it can go away is whenever you can sit down with physical media across from somebody and turn all those phones off and get away from that and focus on something for more than 5 seconds.
As you have your phone on the table.
More than 5 seconds. This is the problem.
Hold on, is my precious here? Yeah, my precious is here. Just in case. But
that is true, right? When you and I sit down to play sorcery, I want to sit down with the oldest, just a glass, and an old bottle of wine, and I want to play sorcery only. And I don't want to scan. I don't want it to be any kind of digital at all. I don't want to be reminded the digital world exists in those moments.
So I have there's a pragmatic, maybe that's the wrong word. There's a practical side to me. As an example, Flesh and Blood. You may have heard of it. I played a lot of Flesh and Blood. I absolutely 100% prefer playing Flesh and Blood in the Flesh and Blood.
Cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Very catchy.
But the ability to play online through Talishar has made it so that there's a lot of times, it's 11 p.m. on a Friday. It's hard for me to play physically at that point.
Yeah.
There's also people that want to try the game before they buy it. And so there's digital applications. I think having access to digital is relevant from a practical
I jam 1,000 games on Talishar.
Yeah, we all have.
I would jam 0 games in physical most of the time because it's just, I don't have a slot for that right now in my life.
But when I first saw, I saw an altered card months ago. And I saw it. And to your point, QR code, 2 things happened for me. One is I saw a QR code and thought this is going to be digital, and I'm immediately just putting it in I'm not interested
bucket.
brain.
Yeah.
Second is aesthetically, it just really bothers me.
The QR code on the card.
And that's like a taste thing. But like for me, games there's literally art on them, but it's also an art form. It'd almost be like if a famous Picasso painting had a QR code on it.
Yeah, learn
like
more.
On the painting.
More. Yeah.
It's like learn the history of where this is inspired by. It's like, I think there's a use for technology, but to just put it front and center on the card, like Warhammer Champions did it in a really subtle way that was nice.
Very clever.
It is, and I understand people on our Discord saying, game's great.
It goes away.
It goes away.
Like you forget that
and
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
And it probably does. But I'm going to just die on this hill where it's like, and this is me as a player, right? I will never really get into or invest heavily into a game as a person that has QR codes on the front of a card.
Okay.
Like
that's fair.
I will literally eat a card if I ever actually do that, right? I don't care if it's like name.
So why is that?
It just bothers me that much down to my soul, you know?
Because you're not usually the guy getting worked up on this.
I know. That's part of what I want to talk about. I'm not usually the negative guy. And again, this is nothing against the team.
Because I think Alter looks phenomenal, personally. I would like to...
The art, particularly?
Definitely. Well, just the way they're using the technology is actually... Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
So, and I have more to say about that too. But
so you're just off on aesthetics.
I just can't... I cannot get over it. And that's a subjective, emotional thing. It just bothers me.
Yeah.
Like I look at a sorcery card or even this Earthborne card, right? Like, and like if you just put a QR code over here on the square, like
it just
I just don't there's no benefit or ease that gets added by having that QR code that makes it worth it. As an example, how this could go. I would way rather. I get it. You can scan in these things, and there's other benefits there.
I want to talk about the benefits.
But like I would rather they ended up going with QR codes because it scans faster.
Yeah.
Than like the Warhammer Champions technology. I would rather, like, again, I'm the kind of person who's buying physical cards to get together physically with other people and play. Like, I'm willing to be inconvenienced a little bit. You know what I mean?
See, I think it's just it's too distracting. Or does it cheapen the physical experience for you to see for there to be a QR code?
I haven't fully unpacked it. It's just like this, like. There's no upside or ease that gets added. Yeah. That is worth that to me.
Well, let's talk about the upside a little bit then.
That's what the kids call a you problem.
Yeah, it's a you problem. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and that's what like I'm not saying this makes the game unworthwhile. You know, like there are things that'd be like this game is offensive and it should not exist. That this is not on that level for me. It's just like I cannot. I just can't.
It's just a you thing, and that's fine. That's
and
totally
did you
fine.
see Mr. Dragonfox? I think this is important. I don't know if you know this.
You want to pop a comment?
No plans for Alter Digital Client. Code is just for collection management. Yeah. So you play it on the table, it stays on the table.
Yeah, but let's be real here. There's no way that's the case.
They said no plans for digital client.
I mean, they don't have plans, right? But over the next 2, 3, 4 years,
we saw it happen with Soulforge.
Everyone who has done this goes digital. So everybody.
We'll go back to tell me the benefits.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I'll get back to what I would have done if I were in charge.
First of all, the game looks truly phenomenal. There's a brilliant amount of polish to this. Obviously, compared to anything that's coming through Kickstarter, this is from the old guard making very popular board games. Studio, Asmodee, crunched together. I mean, this is as high end of a product as you'll ever find, certainly on Kickstarter.
I mean, yeah, you look. I saw a picture.
The art is just. I mean, it's a certain style.
Even just looking at the team, it's like a team of like 30 people.
Just tons.
Sorcery is like 1 or 2 official people, and then people like dedicated to it.
I think they said they had 9 people on a live stream. Yeah,
like post most successful Kickstarter ever.
I think Earthborne's working with about 8-ish, but not full time.
I think Earthborne is 3 or 4 people, and even that was like the first Kickstarter is like. Kind of 4 people, but this was like a team of lots of people and resources. The production quality that's the thing that is painful to me.
off the charts.
If you remove the QR code, my interest is so much higher. It's crazy.
Well, I mean,
that's probably why I'm so passionate about it.
They think it's worth it because the website, of course, is super polished. Everything's great. The
videos,
design,
the marketing,
videos, the art itself. Of course, it's digital art and it has that kind of digital sheen to it. But you know, it's kind of everyone's kind of used to that with Hearthstone and all that kind of stuff. It has that kind
I need to put the pin in this. I'm going to come back to it. Things I would have done differently. The second one is also, if you have the bandwidth to create this on this level, the choice of going to crowdfunding, interesting. And then also the definition of indie.
Oh, sure.
These are conversations I want to have.
It's not clean. It's not easy. I think the game, from everything I've read, a lot of reviews of the game, fantastic. I mean, you look at the way that it's being pitched. It's the guy at the race thing, and it's kind of more interesting than head-to-head, just, dudes fighting again.
But what does the QR code get us?
Love it. I love that part of it. The game looks great. Art, all of that production looks great. It is a TCG, so we got collectability here. We opened some cards. Some of them are worth more than others. Cracking those packs. And then we got the QR code, Zach. And I'm just gonna take it right from the marketing department
out of their mouth. Yeah.
Altered. So we've got modern gameplay. That's not related to the QR code, but turns lasting under a minute for an exhilarating and engaging experience. Turns lasting under a minute. Mana system with stability and impactful choices. Claim victory at the end of an epic and strategic race. So it sounds like Keyforge, right?
Okay.
Unique cards to spice up your game. So each card in the game is available in 3 different rarities based on their types, each rarity featuring altered illustrations.
Hence where the name potentially comes from.
Yeah, maybe. That's a lot for me to unpack right now in my brain. There's a unique card in every 8 boosters. Unique card.
Unique like 1 of 1 or unique like sorcery?
I think it may be 1 of 1.
And every 8 packs.
That can't be true. I don't know. They're not telling me, but I'll
that seems crazy. This is probably, they're watching this. This is good feedback for someone.
Surprise you if you want these guys.
Yeah, these old gentlemen.
In fact, I bet
lovely
most
lads.
of our audience is actually older than we are.
I totally agree.
We've always had a certain kind of appeal to the wiser out there.
I think it's really just because,
and Chicago people also.
Yeah,
we have a huge appeal to Chicago people.
It makes sense. Middle of the country, etc.
Tailor your strategy to the unique cards in your collection.
1 of 1 in every 8 packs.
1 of 1.
How do you do that,
dude?
How unique are we talking? Like the art is unique, or the mechanics are unique,
or just the art? So they got starter decks to start. They've got a display box. It looks gorgeous, Zach. Booster packs look great. They got that Whale Island thing. I love that Whale Island. Love all that kind of stuff. And Gamegenic accessories right out of the gate.
Because of the Asmodee partnership.
Yeah,
checks out.
That's right. New world at your fingertips. Okay, here we go. Scan an entire booster in a few seconds.
Hey, check this out. Eric in the chat apparently saying this CMO available here. If you want me to jump in.
Eric, great.
Chief Marketing Officer.
Yeah.
This is fascinating.
That's great, Eric. Thank you for being here. We're stoked to have it. Scan an entire booster in a few seconds to add the cards to your digital collection. Easily trade, sell, or buy your cards online.
By the way, so many Chicago comments coming through.
Access.
Sorry, can you start over? I was distracted. I got distracted. I'm so sorry.
Scan an entire booster in a few seconds to add them to your digital collection, like Warhammer Champions.
Okay. Scan the cards. They're in my digital collection, so I know what I've got.
Scan the cards. I can build from my exact deck. Easily trade, sell, or buy your cards online. Trading your cards online. So it's TCG Player built into the Altered app, but different.
Different because you're not selling the physical card.
Well, they're not saying that yet.
Well, okay.
This is just the benefits.
We've got the whole team. We got the
my goodness,
manager, OP manager, and one of the designers.
This
is great.
Thank you all for being here. This is perfect. This is why live streaming is what we should be doing.
I
feel like live streaming is important. We'd love to have y'all.
I'm now more heavily weighing my words. I'm just kidding. We'll get to it.
Okay. Access and build your decks at any time. Participate in local events with a single click. Now that sounds like a benefit. Discover a piece of altered story from each card in your collection. Now I saw this. So on your digital collection, you've scanned your cards, right? You scanned your booster pack. You go into your card on the booster pack that you just opened. You go into the app. You click on the card. It has a little lore section, and it gives you like paragraphs of information about the card that you just opened, like the character and what they've done and who they are in the world and that kind of thing.
Now, what they've done in terms of like, well, if I give you this card and I played in 10 tournaments with it, that history would be in there?
I don't know about that, but they like more like
just lore. So like this vigilant lookout. Like here's where this came from.
It'd be like reading the entry for that in the Earthborne Rangers lore book.
Okay, yeah.
But it's on your app. Okay. And then print your cards on demand. I think this is the biggest thing that people are talking about.
Yeah.
Need decks for yourself and your friends? Want to print your cards in foil, stolen, damaged, or lost cards? Get any cards from your digital collection printed brand new and have them delivered to your doorsteps in the available language of your choice. Okay, so we are playing sorcery. You and I, let's say.
Okay, hypothetically.
I've got my sorcery collection scanned into this app. You've got your sorcery collection scanned. Let's say that you want to play, you have a 1 of 1. You have 1 Grim Reaper in your collection. But
maybe it's the only Grim Reaper in the world.
But you want to build 8 decks with that 1 Grim Reaper. Well, previously you can't have all 8 built. You got to swap it around. Well, here, just print 8 copies of the card that you own, and then you can have 8 decks with a Grim Reaper in it. Or let's say we're going to Seattle. We're going to SorceryCon here on Thursday. So we're heading to Seattle. We're going to go hang out with the team up there in SorceryCon land, David. And we're going to play some sorcery and we're going to shoot some video. And let's say we take our sorcery decks up there and let's say that they get lost in the airport. And then it's like, oh no, millions of dollars in sorcery cards are suddenly lost. I'm just going to go to the app, print it all out. And now I have my millions of dollars back in the form of my cards. And any language of your choice. That's wild.
Yep.
That's beautiful. That's actually beautiful.
And they don't say it here, but the video we were watching earlier, 1 in 4 packs has a foiler.
Yes.
Which is a card you can scan in, and then you can choose to foil any of the cards in your collection with it.
So cool. I mean, come on. We're taking notes from Diablo. We're taking notes from loot drop games. We're taking notes from everything here.
Okay, so there's like so many possible conversations here, but one thing I'll say on the printing cards, that is convenient, and it's nice because, you know, if you're 10 and you didn't sleeve your original Charizard that you pulled, and things happen, printing more would be nice. But fundamentally, what is happening is there's now a digital asset,
right?
Which is the digital asset I could sell to you. You could, let's say you don't speak English, some other language. Now you can have it and you can print copies in your language of it, and then you could sell it to Jonathan, and Jonathan could print his copies. I could also print a bunch of copies and then just do whatever I wanted with it. So this is, I want to be, it's easy when something is new and different that comes along and to criticize it or to say why it won't work because it doesn't fit in the current paradigm of everything we're used to. And I'm very sensitive to that because I hate when this is just childhood trauma, but I hate when it's like, here's how it is because it is how it is.
Do you want to unpack that?
And not really, not live. But like, I've felt that way about tabletop games for so long. Which is like, well, why, forever we were getting allocated on games. And it's like, what do I need to do to never be allocated again? And then distribution's kind of just like, it's just how it works.
Nothing. Yeah, you can't do it.
And it's like, well, why? And it's like, well, that's just how it works. It's like, why? No answer. So anyways, in this case, like, I think that's part of why my soapbox on the QR code is so painful because like, the look of it, everything looks great. Job well done. Like, game looks good. Everything I'm hearing about the game is good. The art looks good. The innovation that is being explored here.
It's incredible. If you're going to do it, you have to do it with this approach. You have to go all in to the moon.
Yeah, there's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
But I'm not even really interested in getting into it. I know that like collector type people. That's not really. I collect things effectively, but that's not the goal for me.
Not resale. It's not the point.
Yeah. I know though that category is like, and even stores a lot of stores survive on singles. It's like, this is a very different situation. I mean, interestingly, a store could own a lot of these things and print cards for their players and allow cards to be played that, like they talk about the play locally with the click. And so part of this is if you own it, you can register it in your deck and you just scan it and it's like, oh yeah, they own all these cards. Here's their thing.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
For like official type things. But like, if we're just playing locally at our space, one store could own it all. Someone's going to online. It's like, I just own all these different things and you can order copies that you don't own the digital rights to it, but you can have the physical thing, which I don't think they reveal how much it's going to cost to print these things.
I have not seen that anywhere. If y'all have anything on that, please let us know.
And it's notable because I think the, if you're selling boxes, they're sealed and there's these digital rights to these things. I mean, there's things that can be very complex here. Resealing stuff is going to get weird. It's like, because it's not just like the card anymore if someone already scanned it. I remember even someone saying people opening packs on camera is going to be weird because like someone could be sitting at home just like ready to own your card, right?
Yeah.
Which is all fine. I'm not really worried about that. I think the thing to me though that I felt with the QR code, which is why I have such a soapbox beyond just the look of it too, is there's a practicality element on the other side. It's like you can try to make something easier and actually make it less easy. What I mean by that is with Warhammer Champions, at least, there's a certain point where like 90% of the cards I don't care about scanning because I already have max playable copies on the app, except for you get the points for it. And now I'm sitting here scanning cards to just like get points. Even though like in Sorcery, you know, once you have 4 lightning bolts, you don't need more lightning bolts.
Yeah.
So at this point, if I open a pack of beta, it's like there's very few cards I'm actually looking for.
Yeah.
And so there's that component of you now have to scan every card in.
Do you think they're going to make you scan? I mean, is there a reason to scan past your collection limit?
Past what you need to like verify a deck? I don't think so.
Probably not. They don't have the points going. At least I've not heard of that.
Yeah. But it is like a, like for Champions, it almost became a burden.
Yeah.
Where it was like, with Champions, I would way rather every box comes with a code you can scan, kind of like Sorcery's Dust. And then I can spend 5 of those a month to get the free online client. Mm-hmm. They're not even doing an online client, so this is a whole different paradigm. But like, instead of having to scan all my stuff in to use it physically, it's like, or just let me pay $10 a month to play the online. If I don't, but if I'm buying physical product, I get this supplemental online for free kind of a thing. But yeah, that's kind of my, practically speaking, like right now, I don't have any problems verifying my sorcery decks at tournament. Like, or my fab decks. Like this is not a problem for me. I also don't have a problem with like, I haven't needed to replace cards for fab in 4 years.
Sure.
So like printing, and now only having to have one Majestic to print 3 of them and have them in my deck is
or
nice.
Having one Tunic, and you can have Tunic in 8 decks.
Yep.
And you could run them at a tournament. You could pick this one at the beginning of the day and you own the card. They can prove it.
Yeah, that is handy. But I guess it would have to functionally, and I'm not an expert on this game at all at this point. I didn't get past the QR code, let alone why you would use it. That's why I started with the reality of like, I don't know that there's a set of benefits big enough to get me over that hump. And part of that is just based on a lot of the upsides of being able to print your own cards, for me at least, have not actually been problems in my 20 plus years of engaging with card games. And that's part of what I did not know until this stream that there is also not a digital client.
Yeah.
So then it
not yet, not planned.
Not yet.
Not planned.
So that's a bundle of things.
Well, I'm going to take it to the chat here, Jonathan. Do we have some good comments to roll through? If you want to find some, I know you've been popping them up during the stream, but if you want to find some going back, we've got a first moment here, and I think the 2 camps here, I think really, if you're going to split people into 2 camps, we have the Bah Humbug camp, which I think
we're American.
You and I, yeah, right. First past the post, baby. you and I are likely to be in this camp, which is there is something that changes when a physical object is no longer uniquely physical. Like when, a card, again, use the Grim Reaper example for Sorcery. I know that there are 280 copies of that in the world for Sorcery Alpha. Something about that being an infinite number, printable until the end of time or until the company folds, one of the two, makes that feel different. I don't know what it is. To me, it kind of is like a similar thing to buying like a very cheaply manufactured, mass-produced product versus somebody that a craftsman, made one copy of. Mm-hmm. I know that there's one copy of this that somebody created that was actually printed, that was minted, if you will. And it's an intangible conversation to have about it because there's no good framing or words to talk through why things feel that way. But I love the idea that there's only so many of each copy of a card in a set of a TCG, and that through storms and rain and people losing track, there's going to be less and less over time, and that you have to care enough to find them and hold on to them and store them so that they remain. That there's something very cool about that to me. And also just not having to get a phone out to ever do anything involving the gaming hobby. I think the other camp, though, is very much like bring it on. Like, these are all huge benefits. The industry and the TCG space has been so behind on what digital integrations can get you in terms of just player/collector experience. The only thing is, I've seen so many times where things becoming easier makes them less valuable. I talk about World of Warcraft all the time with this. I talk about Diablo all the time with this. You made it easier and easier for players to do certain things that they had to seek out previously, had to find a person to trade with, had to have a Discord conversation, had to go to the card shop to buy the single.
Yep.
Now it's all behind a screen, looking at prices like a stock market and pressing buy whenever it's below the certain threshold that you need it to be. And all of that is faceless, and there's nobody involved in it that you have to meet. And so some of that is just wrapped up in this that gives me pause when I think about how this impacts the hobby at large. What do you got,
Let me pull up this. So there's two basic melodies that are going on here.
Two melodies.
The one
we said it would be two camps, right?
That's right.
Well, just two other...
The right camp and the wrong camp.
All right, give me the two ideas.
So here's the one about uniques, which I think is really good in the context of your Soulforge, your Keyforge, and the Richard Garfield. By making it one of 8 instead of all of everything.
Yeah.
You still, like Chubfrog says, you still have that original concept, but you also can make a game in a...
Well, so I'll read this comment here. I like how uniques bring back the original Richard Garfield concept where you'd see cards you've never seen before when you play against a new player. So these are functionally unique. They're mechanically unique cards.
But it's important to note, if there's a card 1 in 8, and 1 in every 8 pack, and I want to see that. Like, what does it mean? Because, I mean...
What does it mean? We got designers in the chat.
Yeah,
what does it truly mean to be a unique card?
The important part there is that could happen with or without QR codes.
So we got one.
And in fact,
right now.
The QR code where you can print means the unique cards are actually not as unique unless you're in an official tournament setting. So if I get the 1 of 1 card and I keep hold tight on that digital ownership, I'm the only person. Maybe I print one, or I have the one and I never let anyone else do it. I could also print 100 and start sending them out to all my friends.
And all casual play, everybody can.
And that's all casual play. Like what you could print it anyway. As soon as you saw it online or whatever, you could just print it and do your thing.
It's akin to proxying a card during
just higher
non-competitive play.
Yeah.
Just higher quality.
But weirdly, like the 1 of 1, because of that, is less. Like if there truly was a 1 of 1.
It just feels different, doesn't it?
It is different.
It just feels different.
But the QR code is not required for that to be a component of this game. Like you could take QR code away and still have that.
Yeah, sure.
Which I think is cool. Like it's why Keyforge was so cool. It's like the deck you own is the deck you own and no one else owns it. Mm-hmm. And like that is cool.
Yeah,
there's something in my human brain. It's like the chemicals go off and it's like, this is the only one that's like this.
There's something about that's real.
Yeah.
It's really real. It's the only one that'll ever exist, Hit me, John.
Is Mango Feet, who's bringing up a lot of good points.
Mango Feet, one of the greatest out there.
Basically, the idea that this is a very, at least as far as I can tell, pro players, neutral to speculators move.
Yeah, so and this is a lot of TCGs are looking to move in this direction, right? How do we get the speculator element out of this? The guy that's flipping video cards because they're in high demand that we saw in 2020, 2021. The guy that's buying up all the toilet paper and selling it for twice the price. Like all of this, everyone's trying to remove these actors from the chain.
But here's the problem. They're still going to exist here, right? Because someone could go in and buy the digital rights of all of this card or all of this kind of card, right?
Or like 20,000 unique cards.
And literally they could just be like, hey, this game's going to be successful. Eventually there's going to be a deck that really wants this unique card and I'm just going to, it's like buying domains.
Right.
It's like someone eventually is going to be named mangofeet.com. They're really going to want this domain. So like, I'm just going to buy it for $8 and pay $8 a year and then sell it.
Have you checked with our friends down at covenant.com?
Every couple of years, man. I actually just emailed them a month or two ago. Still not interested?
Yeah, okay, bummer.
It's a technology company in Texas, if you need them. But so I lost my train of thought.
All right, John, pull me up what Mango Feet was up to, if you would.
It's also another part of this is functionally this is very much like NFTs.
All right, check this out. For Altered, if you're just playing casual/kitchen table, you can treat it like an LCG and just buy print copies for cheap without having the digital rights. So what this means is, let's say you have a person who buys a lot of Altered, and then they print out physical decks with all their cards, and then they sell those physical decks to anybody that wants them for cheap. And here you can play with this however much you want. You just can't bring it to an official tournament because you don't own the digital rights to the cards. So that's kind of interesting. Well, local store prints decks for $5. You can buy them and never have to actually have the ownership.
That's kind of what I mean by like, you're sort of making something simpler and more complex at the same time. Because like in every TCG I've ever played, there are like the easiest way to get those cards is just to like buy a box.
Mm-hmm.
Or
like you get most of the collection.
Yeah, if you're just playing casually and you want a bunch of commons that are going to be cheap from someone printing them and then shipping them. Like, so now we're adding a step of I buy a card, I scan it in, I print directly, it comes to me, then I sell to this person for this cheap amount.
Yeah.
And so like...
But imagine this. Imagine we're a group of 8 players.
Wait, what?
Imagine we're a group of 8 players.
Okay.
One player buys that booster box, gets all the commons, uncommons, etc., and then prints all 8 players' decks from that collection. And then they play altered.
Yep.
One booster box was purchased instead of 8 booster boxes being purchased so that everybody now has the commons. They own the commons.
Yeah. I guess the...
Maybe not great for the model because that just means you'd sell less booster boxes.
Well, the upside for the publishers, they now have a direct revenue source to the player.
Yeah.
Whereas if they're going through Asmodee to distribute these boxes to stores and the stores to players, you're kind of out of the chain at that point. But now they actually have a real reason for you to interact with them and a revenue source. And I don't know.
Using the marketplace.
Yeah.
Basically.
But like right now, you know, again, this is like, is it an actual problem? Because if you wanted to play Fab with just commons and rares, like you can find pretty much any one you want for 10 cents on TCG Player and place a $30 order and get all these cards.
Sure.
So I have a hard time imagining that printing on demand in short scale is going to actually be even more cost effective.
Because shipping might be $25, might be $20.
Yeah, or just like the thing earlier said, it's $1 a card until you hit a certain limit, then it goes down price.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
So
okay,
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
So yeah, if you order a lot of it,
thank you. But
like at the moment, unless you're a smaller TCG that's hard to find or not listed on like the marketplace of TCG Player, and I would assume with this much success, Altered would have easily shown up on TCG Player.
Sure.
But again, for Sorcery, the games I play that are collectible, Sorcery and Fab, and they're not on there yet. But alphaclash is a good example of not on there yet, TCG Player. But for the ones that are, it's like they're 8 cents a card or whatever it is. So,
and it is worth noting on this point that the buying and selling of trading cards in the romanticized version of having a face-to-face interaction is already gone.
Correct.
So they're just removing the cut that TCG Player takes from that transaction. It's
not totally gone because a lot of boxes, I think most boxes of most games sell locally. And I think there's a lot of stores that exist primarily selling singles.
True.
Right. So like I know a lot of people that they buy their Fab singles at their local store and that's where they interface. Yeah. So there's still some interfacing.
Now the trading is where you get the face-to-face for sure.
Yeah, but I think when we unromanticize it, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like right now, if you want to buy a common only deck for Fab, it's like $20. And like, I don't know how to, because those are being sold there because that's the extra from people who who opened 6 boxes and didn't need the commons from the last couple of boxes, or open product for singles and the commons and rares are just like the extra thing.
Right.
Like the actual money is on the more valuable things. So it's just sort of, is this actually solving?
Is that actually, this problem is already being solved without digital integration
whatsoever. We found ourselves there in business before. We're doing all this stuff to like solve something. And it's like, well, it's not even actually an issue.
Yeah. But it might be.
But it could be.
Give me any other comments there? I see Jan in the chat too. I know you've got a lot to say about this, I'm sure, having chatted about this before.
That have been much different, other than people talking the game is really quite good.
Yeah, the game, from everything I can tell, the game is fantastic. Listic saying one thing I really do like about the game is that it has a different flavor than the standard my cards fight your card combat. And I really like the deserve mechanic.
Yeah.
So cards have a second life, basically.
I mean, I think it's sort of why I liked Earthborne, right? It's like this is an optimistic, positive, and this game has a lot of good going for it, is the question. And I think the first filter is, are the QR codes going to turn you off from the game or not? And if they don't, I think this is a home run.
You could just buy boxes like normal, not scan anything, call it a day, and just play it like a normal TCG.
Yep.
Yeah, because you don't have to scan it in.
You don't have to scan anything. I mean, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
That's right.
You know, buy a case of it, open it, play with friends, etc.
Justin asking the burning question here.
Justin, have you ever played? No, we haven't seen it. Not played it at all. I can't even get Zach to look at it. Every time I bring it up, he's like, "Those QR codes." But you got to see past that. You know, you got to see past. What are your guys' thoughts about Altered? Let's send it out to the chat. I want to pull up some comments and have a discussion about it. I think it's going to do very well.
Clearly.
I think it's going to do extremely well early. I think all eyes are on what's going to happen in the next 2 years when the newness has worn off. You've scanned all your cards. You got the digital marketplace up. How many people have swooped in? How many big players are buying everything? I think also like even was it Diablo 4 or 3? One of them. There was a Diablo that introduced this marketplace where you could sell the gear that you found, and they cut it because it had a toxic effect on the game and the player base. And it incentivized people to do different things than just enjoy questing. And so the more you kind of just make the overt nature of you could open a pack that you can then sell a digital token for thousands of dollars, that kind of is aligned with the incentive of why I'm here. And the easier that you make that to do, it does bring in some vibes.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the game has a lot of momentum going for it, and it seems like it's doing some really unique things. How the unique factors related to the QR code and generally about the game play out in the next couple of years is really relevant. It's a new methodology, which could come with a lot of unseen positive or negative.
Alex Becker said this is the first stream I've seen. This is the first time I've heard about the game. How does Alex Becker not know about Altered?
He's got mail delivered.
Where are you going? I see you're in our Discord all the time. How do you not know about Altered? We talk about it once a day in the general chat. He's not in the general chat.
He's just out there delivering mail,
in the flesh and blood
That's
chat.
right. He's just living there in the flesh and blood. So I think
I've got a good question here also whenever you're ready.
David, how many LGSs are going to carry this knowing they'll have to scan every card to have a digital and physical inventory?
I mean, I think there'll be LGSs that just buy boxes and sell boxes and don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And then I think the LGS is selling singles. Like, technically, if you can scan the digital rights in, and if the digital rights, especially on the unique stuff, sell, to me, that's a local game store dream. If it works, because you open, you scan, now you have a digital asset that's already digital to sell, and you can just physically give away or sell what's in person, right? And I can imagine if there really are one-of-one uniques, depending on how crazy that gets, those could be quite valuable. Just the digital rights. Even tournament players are going to need to buy 3x of whatever they need, right? Or whatever the max copy of that thing is.
Yeah, but the local, I mean, there's no reason for the local equation there makes no difference. I mean, what you might well see is big stores open 1 million boxes and trash all the cards. Because all they care about is the digital tokens that they then put on the marketplace.
That's what I was saying about just giving it away locally, right? It's like once you scan it in, you can just start handing the cards out.
Yeah, the cards are kind of meaningless in weird ways. You know, it's like it hits a part of the brain that I'm not used to talking to.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
I mean, I think that's part of the discomfort of it, which is why new ideas get rejected a lot. It doesn't mean it's bad or wrong. It's just like new is uncomfortable. And how the marketplace and how players are going to respond to this newness. There's obviously interest, and I think. I got distracted there.
Yeah.
This is Zach talking about what you're talking about.
Zach, and this is one where I'm happy to stout, but very interested to see how it progresses and ends up because hobbies die off without innovation. I agree, Zach. I'm in a very similar spot. I'm deeply curious about it. But I can't get over, and this is the me problem side of this. It almost feels like it's the romance is kind of removed. The romance is removed. That's what it's too.
Keep that comment up there.
It makes it too close to meaningless for me. Where it's like, I gotta have some amount of suspending my disbelief that yes, technically you could take the print files of a sorcery first set and you could run with those and print as many as you wanted in a factory forever as long as you had that. There is no actual limit to the number of cards that you could print. But there is a limit to the number of cards that have been printed or will ever be printed for sorcery, just because that's the way that they're operating their game.
Hypothetically, they could stop printing cards from certain sets, or they could stop existing.
Yeah,
and then you can't print more of these things.
Yeah, that's totally true. But taking that step out where, there's a publisher, they decide how many copies of a thing to print, they send it out into the wild, and then the world takes over and sees what happens with a limited physical supply of something. Mm-hmm. Now that it's the limited digital supply is what we're talking about in the form of a piece of code that you now own.
Yeah.
It hits me. Well, it hits me in a way that it makes me uncomfortable.
The thing that's collectible now is the digital ownership, not the physical thing.
Yeah.
Which is either something you like or don't like.
Like those monkeys, those apes.
And I think for me, it's like, I don't... That I'm less uncomfortable with that than I think you would be.
Yeah.
The digital ownership mattering thing.
Yes.
And I don't know what Venn diagram overlays of our thing, but I think that's where it's like I said, the QR code existing or scannable cards and digital ownership and stuff, and what they're innovating with here and doing new things is like interesting to me. I just can't get past QR code existing. Whereas I think this is the thing, right? Anytime you make something, who it's going to appeal to, you have these different factors. You also have factors that are going to make people not be interested. So like the lore, the theme, the gameplay from everything I've seen is interesting and appealing. Mm-hmm. I can't take the QR codes.
Yeah.
Some people are really going to be uncomfortable with the idea of the collectible part of this is the digital asset. Just out of hand. And in a tabletop gaming industry, even more so.
Yeah.
So you're going against, and fortunately they already have the Asmodee worldwide distribution connection, because I can imagine, also fortunately the Kickstarter is just going nuts.
Yeah.
But like this would take a lot. And I think actually when it was earlier, why did they go to the Kickstarter? Because they seemingly had the funds to have a large team to create an incredible product before. As we've talked, I think it was actually really critical because they already had the deal locked in with Asmodee. What they didn't have retailers or players convinced this was a game worth
it's all marketing
doing. So
Kickstarter is always, that's what it is.
It is marketing, but when you're doing something this radical, I think the buy-in that there are this many people interested in this because it's so different.
Yeah.
Like the digital ownership. If you just pitch that to distribution and retail and players, like without some sort of evidence like this, I can easily see it being new enough to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because you got people aren't going to like QR code, people that aren't going to like the digital ownership, people that basically don't have room in their life for another TCG, et cetera. I mean, it's a launching a new game into tabletop, especially on this kind of scale, like a TCG, is very difficult.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And when you're doing something this new, it's even like
it has an advantage in that it's new. And so this is different, and that gets a lot of attention. And then the ways it's different can be positive or negative, of course. What are the folks saying, John?
I thought this was good. It's from Eric, and he's saying you can do business online only if you want, or do business with physical cards because it'll be convenient and cheaper than print on demand, wait time plus extra price, or both. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was kind of getting to about like it is easier if you want to just do online. You can scan it and sell the digital asset and be done. And importantly, I don't know how it's going to work, but if the company making the game owns that marketplace where the digital transfer happens, just like with NFTs, you can have a little cut. You know, it's like, it's $10. We're going to charge you for 5-cent processing fee.
Yeah.
So from a business perspective, that is really interesting, right?
It's massive.
Yeah. But it, as they're saying there, it is faster and cheaper to deal in real cards. Mm-hmm. Because buying the digital asset means I have to buy it from you, then I have to print over here. And if I'm not printing enough cards, the cost to print those cards is going to be high. Then I have to pay for shipping. So I'm not just going to order a $1 card and get it shipped.
Yeah.
And they have to print it and then ship it instead of I buy it from Steven immediately ships, or I buy it in person from you, or I trade in person from you. So that's what I was saying earlier. I think hinting at the most efficient way to get all the lower level cards to people probably has already been figured out.
Yeah.
Just from the nature of the way collectible games work. Yeah.
That's what we call that, in the bulk box. Clockwork Gadget, I worry about the game from an ecological sustainability aspect. Of the common message is not being you don't need to take care of your cards, just print more, and or the fact that you're removing all of your scale efficiencies across shipping. So now all that digital ownership leads to tons of small shipments of cards around the world instead of 5 big shipments to regional hubs and then 10 big shipments to your local stores, and then to players from there or from the brick and mortar. So I think there is going to be more, mail created and more shipments, but
And this is another question.
So less booster boxes you just have to rip for no reason.
If you can eliminate bulk from needing to exist, but if 1 in 8 packs comes with a unique card, you're gonna have bulk.
Yeah.
Like that's
any of the not 1 in 8s is.
Yeah. If it was literally, you buy 4 boxes, you get a play set or whatever you buy, and you can print as many. You have one of everything, and you can print as much as you want. I think that would overall reduce the ecological impact. But once it's, I'm even doing sorcery right now, which is like, I don't need more sorcery, trust me. But like every day I think about buying more sorcery boxes.
For what? 8 cards, 4 cards?
It's basically foils and curios. Mm-hmm. But I opened a foil Ruby core this weekend.
Oh, nice.
It was like one of my top 2 cards I wanted was that card.
Sweet.
Anyways.
Congrats.
But the I think that doesn't eliminate bulk.
Right.
And that's where, to me, it's like, all right, well, if I'm going to really play personally, this is me. I know some people do not play games like this. But if I'm playing Altered, I'm probably buying 3 or 4 boxes every set. In which case, the more common stuff I'm going to have bulk of. And I normally give my bulk to some friends.
Yeah. Which you, of course, could still do. They just couldn't play it in a tournament.
So at least for me, it's not going to eliminate bulk. And in fact, the 1 in 8 unique means I could buy an uncomfortable amount of cards.
Here's the question too, Eric. Maybe you can answer this one. If I get, let's say I have a common card and I scan it, can I collect 8,000 digital rights versions of that same card that I can then send to friends? So for instance, if I scan that card once, is that it? And I have 1 digital token representing that card. So if I send that to somebody else, that's it. Even if I've opened 20 of them and scanned 20 of them, there's only 1 digital asset?
Each one is an asset.
Okay, because then that means that if I want to, for instance, give my friends some demo decks to try the game out, I need to give them the physical cards. I also need to get them to install the app, create an account, and then transfer the digital rights to them if they want to play that in a competitive setting. That's basically how that works, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am incentivized to keep scanning some commons if I do plan to give those away physically, and because it's got to be physical and digital.
Yeah, but if a common is $1 online, the digital rights, it's like you may not scan it.
Yeah, right.
It's like
just go buy it. Yeah. Paul Rubicki saying the really interesting tension here seems to be the wonderful way Altered is trying to bridge the speculators and the kitchen table board gameplay and maybe competitive. Everyone's trying to build the unified field, man.
Yeah.
Gets everybody in.
I do get it where like Fab had this problem. One of the key pieces of equipment you could have was hundreds of dollars forever. And like even if you don't want to go play at a tournament, to even own that card is like very expensive.
Yeah.
Whereas in this world it would be $1, right? As long as your friend owns one, they could print you one for $1.
Yeah.
And if I owned really good cards, I would. It weirdly, I feel like what I would do, and I've done this because, like,
in
any game with Star Wars Destiny, I've done it in the way you would do it historically. I remember there would be cards I used in a lot of decks. Like blue was my favorite color in Destiny, and so at some point I would just go online and buy singles, and because they're 10 cents each, and I would spend like $2 and get 20 copies of, whatever, whatever the blue card is, Mind Trick, etc. So like if I own a card in Altered and I think I'm going to use it in a lot of decks, I might print 20 of those cards. And
that's handy.
Which is handy. But also like if I'm ordering, I feel like my tendency would be like if I'm going to go ahead and order, it's like I'm just going to go ahead and get a bunch of every card.
There's something that addresses that here. Let me pull it up.
And Andrew was saying just recently that TCGs are, of course, a huge amount of waste, which, But if the cards were recyclable, that would certainly help. But I think the TCG standard at this point, you got to have that plastic coating, and it's got to be a beautifully nice to hold and feel card, even though we put them all in sleeves.
Yeah. Now,
so what the heck?
Altered could not do the plastic because it's so easy to replace.
That's true.
Your cards?
They can make a recyclable card. I wonder if they'll be able to do that. Yeah. Eric here saying, thanks for addressing these questions, Eric. You'll be able to order as a group or via your LGS so that you can lower the shipping costs, meaning it'll be very interesting for LGSs to offer the service because of the bulk orders they can do. Offer the service because of the bulk. So they take a bunch of orders from the play group like every week, and then
it'll be super much cheaper.
And then they place a bulk order. And then they take some of the money. So like, let's say there's a processing fee your LGS charges of 10% of the total bulk order. And then they get the cards for cheaper to the player base and they make $1 on their end too.
Which is different?
It's different, Zach. It's different. I love that it's different.
Let me get you another one here.
Let me tell you though, and maybe Eric can relate to this. I've been doing marketing here for 17 years. And let me tell you, the one thing that I've learned,
good comment, Justin,
is that complexity is so hard it's so hard to get people to do things that are even a little bit difficult, like reading. Even that,
I mean,
is a difficult.
The iterations on our website over time, it's like you constantly are just trying to simplify. We talked this morning. We were talking about a new way to pre-order from us, and you were like, God, not another way for people to order something from us, because like it's just so hard to communicate.
Will I be charged now? Will I be charged later? If I'm charged later, when will I be charged? What happens if I want to cancel that order?
That's what you mean by read. Like we can't bullet point it down enough or bold it or make it as it's still just somehow gets missed.
Yeah, the offerings have to become simple, not just explanations. Justin Parnell, as a former retailer, the ability to open packs, scan the cards into my online inventory with all of their attributes correct, plus immediately available for pricing is a massive reduction of labor. Now, that's true.
Yeah, I totally get that.
That's very, very true. That removes a lot of the burden. But it is kind of, at a certain point, why are there even packs? You know what I mean?
Can you just buy digital cards online?
Can I mean, if I'm just paying $4 to see what I'm going to scan in, why don't we skip that step? Why don't I just pay $4, generate 11 random digital tokens, or I hit a unique? Great.
You want to get really simple, and just order whatever you want, print on demand.
Yeah.
Any card you want. No, I mean, you really want to boil it down.
Yeah.
Especially the commons and stuff. It's just like,
they can get a play set, just order a play set online. Yeah.
I don't know.
And maybe the booster box is the bridge, like maybe the famous Steve Jobs stuff about how, faster horse, etc. That was not Steve Jobs, of course. That was Henry Ford. But talking about how you can be too far ahead.
Yeah.
And so maybe if you just drop the booster box entirely, nobody would understand this is a TCG and how it's supposed to work. So maybe this is the bridge. And then, I don't know, it could move to generate some tokens.
I think all that to say, there's a certain charm, and this could be just me getting old, okay? But there's a certain charm to buying a physical thing. And it's just
easy there, Grandpa.
Well, it's just buying a physical thing in person.
Gen Z just tuned out.
But they weren't here in the first place. This is longer than 2 minutes. Come on. Just kidding. I know some lovely Gen Zers. I should not take such. I'm just on I'm feeling it,
Yeah, the two of you out there, we really appreciate you being here.
You want to just give Zach your sweater?
I mean,
you're supposed to be the cardigan guy.
Yeah. Well, so there, again, there's some things being made simpler here, and there's some things being made more complex. Right now, if I go buy 2 or 3 boxes of sorcery, I'm gonna have a playset of the commons and the exceptionals. Like if you buy 4 boxes, that is some math.
That common of them.
So that's very simple for me to understand. Mm-hmm. And there's something nice about that. Mm-hmm. And it's functionally been working, and that's where as an actual problem that this might help. As an example, Star Wars Destiny came out, and we see this over and over again, and demand goes crazy late. Like the week before release is when interest spikes.
Right.
Sells out immediately. So if you want to play Star Wars Destiny, your options really suck for 6 months.
Yep.
So I own a bunch of cards at that point. It's like, oh, I have a friend who's interested. Let me just print you a bunch of cards. You can pay me for them. And, 6 months from now, when more booster boxes show up, there's going to be a way for you to actually own the rights to these cards and play in tournaments. But in the meantime, you can still play.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If there's a sellout, they can be very, again, that's why the physical printing of the booster box is kind of a weird thing actually in this equation. Yeah, they can be very chill and be low printing on the booster boxes.
Because they got print on demand. And you can rock and roll. But that's where you get back into the speculation thing that I think is impossible to remove when there's collectability, period. Collectability and transferable assets. Mm-hmm. Because, okay, knowing what I know and they have print on demand, were it me, I would not take a huge inventory risk either. Mm-hmm. So then if you're a speculator, you're looking at that and you're looking at this Kickstarter and you're like, what if I buy a bunch of product and then just print a bunch and sell it? And if there is a sellout, I have product, first off. Second of all, you can't buy boxes anywhere. Yeah. So I can print cards and sell those things, which is then, I don't know. It's
weird. It kind of transfers the revenue, but they're getting a cut of the digital transaction.
At least they're getting a cut of the digital.
They're getting a cut, man. It's eventually how this is. It's kind of that NFT thinking minus the blockchain. And we had commentary about this in the general chat too, of like
the Discord.
Yeah, our Discord. I would do this if it was actually an NFT. Like if I could own this outside of the organization. Because what if they want to revoke my rights? What if I've bought $16,000 cards.
Yep.
And then company says you own too much. We're revoking your access.
Yeah.
They have full control.
Or what if you say something really nasty about them?
Yeah.
Or what if you do something?
You get banned from a tournament and they say, all right, you no longer have access to all these tokens. Now there's this weird power dynamic too, where like it's not actually a free marketplace kind of vibe. Not that the NFT thing is that either, you know.
I would hope. I'm not getting dragged into that.
Yeah,
I would hope.
And then the company goes.
Yeah, speaking of soapboxes, now Steven's about to get on his, and it starts with an N, ends with a. Anyways, I would hope that if a company was doing that to someone, that the players in that game would not allow for it, because once it's like with the bank situation.
No, man, it wouldn't happen like that.
But like if I had a friend who that happened to,
yeah.
That's very uncomfortable for me now.
Yeah, it'd be micro stuff, but like 90% of people, as they always do, would say, that was like the right thing to do because this person's awful.
Yeah.
And then there you go. And maybe it is the right thing to do. Maybe person is awful. Justin Parnell, yes, and not only that, we will eventually have check this out, timed borrowing, not at launch, but eventually. You can loan the digital rights to another account, and they'll return to you after X amount of time. So you want to use this card in your tournament in Seattle? I'll give you my rights for 2 weeks, and then that'll come back to me.
Yep.
Does that cost money? It's got to cost something, right? They've got to get a cut of that transaction, or else the world's borrowing from everybody.
I mean, for you to have the card, you either had to print it or take it from me physically, which means they already made money.
Yeah. Yeah.
My assumption is that I have a friend in Florida who wants to borrow a card, and it's like, I'll give you the rights for a month. You can print it, take it to a tournament, and then the rights come back to me. You still have the physical card, but like, you don't have the rights anymore.
Yeah.
Because that would be very annoying if I had to like transfer it to you, and then after the tournament you have to transfer it back.
Yeah. So that'd
be drama.
Fascinating. It takes a lot to build this stuff. I imagine the digital infrastructure is crazy.
Yeah, it's got to be. And they're print on demand. Like if you think about capabilities needed to do this, it's like there's a digital side, there's the print on demand side too.
What if there's a million print on demand orders in the first day?
They're going to be buying some more printers.
I mean, it'd probably be a good sign for the game.
Yeah.
A million people are playing the game, so that's probably okay.
Yeah, so there's different parallels here. There are different things to consider. It's like the game and the lore and the art is like one standard thing. Second one is, can you get past the QR codes or not? A lot of people, it doesn't bother.
Mm-hmm.
Seemingly.
And some people,
says that.
Some people, it's a bonus. It's a huge bonus.
Yeah. Do you care about the digital ownership thing in a good or bad way?
For you?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, me too. I'm watching deeply. Any other comments, John?
Nothing.
Anything else from the Alter team? Anything you guys want to say? We're happy to throw some comments on the screen or read what y'all are concluding or pushing. The narrative of Altered. What are we missing?
I have questions, but I'll save them. It's not a now question.
Steel Slime says, for players and the company, brilliant. Not sure if I like it, but brilliant. Could there be a better summation?
I thought that was a great
of Altered.
Not sure I like it, but brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, here's what I'll say, especially the team out there that's listening. Is like,
great job.
I applaud innovation and risk. Like, this is a huge risk that's being taken with this project, and it's cool to see you being rewarded for that in the Kickstarter. And I hope it goes very well for you. So, Godspeed, and I hope it goes exceptionally well. Innovation of any kind, I think, is I won't say any kind. Innovation is something that can very much be lacking, I think, in this space. And it's cool to see someone taking a risk and doing something. It doesn't necessarily appeal to me, but I still like that it's happening.
Yeah, 100%. I feel the same way, and I would just sum up my thoughts by saying, I think the card gaming, TCG, board gaming, tabletop space for me is an area where I want things to move backwards rather than forwards.
Yeah.
There's some people out there that are very similar. It's like I want it to be as simple, as physical, as real as possible. And so I'm looking at this saying, this is like a lot of digital complexity that I just don't want to engage with. But I really am fascinated by what they've done, and I think it could well solve a number of problems. And they got a good head on their shoulders, good team. obviously got the credentials.
I think clearly they're delivering a product punching above its weight in the class, which is cool. I think the other thing, just for more context on me as a person, I'm even like, and I know this is just old man talk at this point. It's driving me crazy. I just hear it, It's like, I remember the older people in my life talking like this. But like, I remember during the pandemic, it made a lot of sense this happened. But after it was kind of trailing off, we were traveling. And I forget what city we were in, but there were no menus anymore.
Yeah.
It was all literally QR codes. Convenient. Your menu can change at any time. It's digital. Like, you don't have to clean it. You don't have to have it out on the table. I get it. But like, weirdly, I just really hate that the first thing I do when I sit down is get my phone out. Like,
this way, it's the capital R, man. It's that romance.
Yeah, and
the romance is gone.
Now, I would prefer to get rid of the menu altogether, and the waiter come up and just like tell me 2 or 3 options, and I pick one.
Yeah,
that'd be my ideal, because then it's like there's an interaction and like it's simple. But
were you 80, 90 at this point? You're
aging
before
nice.
my eyes. It's like an opposite Benjamin Button thing going on.
It's just life. Yeah,
fast
but like
I
just like it's like when I remember
ride a horse to work.
I remember being over your house at some point, and you were making drinks, and you were just like, ask me what I wanted, and then I was like, I think I told you whiskey, and I was like, whatever you want to do out of that. I love that kind of exchange, because then you can bring it back and tell me like, here's what I made, here's what's in it, here's why I love this drink, kind of a thing. I love that kind of. That's what I meant by even the menu thing with someone. It was like the waiters, and my most common thing is to not even, funnily enough, look at the menu. I just ask the waiter like, what's the best thing on the menu, and then they'll say this, and it's like, all right, that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I've just been in that. We were in group settings too for these tournaments, right? And so you go to this restaurant, there's 10 of you, and it's like, all right, step 1, everyone does this, and then you do this, and you look, and then now you just got your phone out. It's like people getting text, and it's like, I don't know. The whole reason I'm here is not to be on my phone.
Do you think that would happen with booster packs? Do you think it's a weirder opening where you're at the store and you have your phone like this and you open and you lay it all out and then you go, or you got to be like, nobody else scanned my card?
I mean, it's a thing, right? Like if you're just out in public and in a space and you open a pack and you have a unique card, some random person could just
and then out the door you never see him again. Yeah,
you're gone.
I'm moving.
So not that I think that'll be super common, but it is different if you're opening a whole box at a time or something like that. Even I'm picturing drafting or something. It's like, do I need to have my phone out while I'm drafting to scan my cards?
Yeah.
But also, can I scan a card and pass it? And then now, like, these are all fine things to have to figure out. But like,
just for a weird, this is incredible. You, Zach, were raving about how much you loved that menus were gone, and it was a QR code back on one of the Arkham streams that I recently rewatched.
All right.
So
I aged right in front of us. Well, at the time I probably liked it because
it makes practical sense.
It was like very practical. And then the more it was happening, it was just like you just sit at a table with people on their phones for the first 10 minutes and you're like, I don't know if I like this anymore.
I think that is the risk of Altered. I think it first happens and you scan the QR code menu and you say, okay, this is progress. And then you do it a few more times and you're like, I liked it the old way. It could happen.
Yeah.
Or eyes peeled. Eyes peeled. Finally, Russell House, of course, just pop on the Apple goggles. No need to get out the phones.
Now we're talking. Like if I can just draft and boom, it's scanning my things with my eyeball clicks.
I'm not meant for this. Let's get to the news. What do you think?
Yeah, okay.
Everybody happy? Altered. Well, continue that conversation on our Discord and the general chat if y'all want to keep it up there in the YouTube comments, etc. Leave some comments, get the video in the related feeds, get the algorithm pumping.
Smash that like button.
All this digital
subscribe.
Garbage, man.
Go to our Discord channel. What else we got? Buy something from us?
Yeah, you can buy something.
Buy my book
if you want to. We're about to talk about Earthborne, which you can definitely buy from us. The core set's available on our website.
For now. This is not a digital print situation.
It's not forever.
Right. See,
that bad boy is going to be gone.
It's not forever. All right, I'm going to pull up the news here. Thank you to the Alter team for being here. That was a treat. Fantastic.
Seriously, I wish you guys the best, and I hope it goes super well for you.
Look forward to hearing more about it, too. Seeing how it does. Man, seeing how it does. It's going to be a crazy journey.
Justin's saying, ping us when you guys play the game. Let us know if your opinion changes.
Oh, I think the game would be phenomenal. Yeah. I don't think there's any way the game is not good after all the reviews I've read and all the different. I saw Cedric's thing on it. I saw a lot of people talking about how good. And our community says the game's great in the Discord.
And I tend to believe them.
They say it's great. Unfortunately, I mean, like that's honestly, that's kind of par for the course these days. Like, there's so many great games mechanically. There's not a dearth of good games to play mechanically. We're about to play Earthborne, so that's a great game. So that's not actually the biggest driving factor for me anymore, weirdly enough. Like art and kind of some of the stuff outside of the game and the theme, that is more actually prevalent.
You want to talk about old man shake stick? Is like sorcery. Part of the appeal of that, right, is like even the art is not digital.
Yeah, it's hugely.
It's like it's all hand painted art, which is like ridiculous. Like I get it. It's just such like a just.
But it's real, man. It matters. I think it freaking matters.
Yeah,
romance.
Yeah, and that's what to me. Final note on the QR code is just the romance / the art of the game creation. Just feels. It hits in a weird
some people don't like it
spot. Like imagine if you went to the Louvre and even not on the painting, they have little description cards. It's like if instead of the description card, it was just like a QR code.
Yeah.
The romance is gone, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I hate how much I hate it. I wish I was not on this hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You look down and you're like, why am I up here?
Yeah. It's just like I wish it didn't bother. It's almost like when. You try something that someone loves, like a food, and you don't like the way it tastes.
Like a TV show.
Yeah, it's like I would way rather like this.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't not want to like cabbage.
Yeah.
But like here we are, and I don't like cabbage.
Yeah. I think the game's great though. Let's talk about Earthborne. Earthborne Rangers on its second printing. Gamefound currently has 1 day left.
Let's see what they're at.
What time are they? What time are they going to close up here?
I got you. Oh, you already got it.
It ends in 1 day and 9 hours. So 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, 11. So at the end of the day, literally like midnight tomorrow, Tuesday.
That's strange.
Isn't that right? Is that right?
I don't know, man.
9, 11 plus 39.
Plus
yeah,
2, 11.
That's midnight. Literally the whole day tomorrow, it's going up, and then 11:59, it's over. And it's $836,481 right now.
Congratulations,
That is a tremendous amount of money. Y'all have clearly struck a chord with a player base.
Yeah, for a non-collectible card game, notable.
How many folks are there? I can see only me. I can see my backer number, but how many people total have pledged? How do I find that out? See, the Gamefound one, it's harder because now that I backed it, it changes everything. I can't find the normal version. 5142 backers. Let's compare that. What's altered at?
Andrew's saying that's right. Midnight CST, which is Covenant Standard Time.
Dude, we're streaming. I just saw about 100 backers hit on altered.
That was probably directly from us talking about it.
You can send that check. Just write that check out. Send that check in the mail. Right there. Also, Nalgene, we're still waiting on your 15th installment. We've been doing we did drop off. Zach.
Well, because of the lack of payments, we had to pick up the proudly Texan Ozarka bottled water, which you can find at such stores as Walmart and Sam's Club, or probably Costco. 16.9 fluid ounces of 100% natural Texas spring water.
It's just tap water.
It's just tap
and water. You can refill the bottle an infinite amount of time.
It'll be the same.
And that's what you gotta do. You don't keep buying them and using them and don't.
Refilling the bottles, you get plastic bits in your body. Especially if you leave it in the sun. That's really bad for you, apparently.
Yeah. So I guess the solution is to buy disposable plastic things and
use
them once.
Keep buying new ones. New bottles of water.
Andrew, I can hear Andrew out there in Costa Rica. Can you hear it? Can you hear the sigh being let out across the world, across the hemisphere?
Listen,
why don't you get a glass bottle or something?
Well, I had one and it broke. Actually,
right, that's the downside of glass.
And then I've broken several glass bottles. I love glass water bottles.
Now it's right up there on the shelf.
Well, that's the plant water bottle now.
Well, you can have it. You can have one of them.
Oh,
for sure. Yeah.
I thought it just
plant doesn't get priority.
It got tooken from me, you know.
So anyway, congrats. 7,200 on Altered and 5,200 on Earthborne so far. That's kind of a cool spread.
That is crazy for the second printing of Earthborne, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you realize, and that also does a really good demonstration of why collectible games are very popular in the business side of the tabletop world.
Mm-hmm. Hey, here's a question. Is Earthborne Studios independent? And
that was a question.
And is Altered...
So By the book.
Let me find the actual. I think I have a hard time.
It's kind of like
This is Equinox Independent.
It's kind of like the competitive casual conversation. They're bad words. Indie is short for independent.
Yeah.
And realistically, independent is the people making the product are the ones that own it.
Yeah, I would say that there's not an outside group or a conglomerate or a shareholders that are managing decision making.
Would an indie record be made by the artist or by like a small label?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, they're bad words.
I actually don't know.
But I think an independent company, in the grand scheme of things, the ownership is with the founder. Would that be fair?
Is it just the...
I don't know. I mean, because
what if there's like a bunch of founders?
It's like the original vision, or like let's say there's not a board. They're not public. They definitely can't be public. They can't be on an exchange, right? They can't be on an exchange.
That would be non-indie.
I don't think so. Their decision making is being driven by other factors aside from the project itself or the projects themselves. What does indie even mean?
In my mind, you know when you see it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like when I think indie, there's not just a, like as an example, Earthborne is I know Andrew owns a company, runs a company, indie. But also there's like a size.
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't matter if I'm sure there's a video game company that hits this description where it's like they're still indie, but they're large.
Was FFG before the Asmodee bought an independent studio?
I think so.
With Chris and 80 people?
I think they were indie.
Yeah. So size doesn't really matter in that way. Right? So then, but Asmodee buys them and now they're no longer independent.
Well, Asmodee is a public company.
Right.
Or now they're not, but they're owned. So that's interesting. So they're owned by a company that is public.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not. If it has multiple tiers, that's not independent.
It's crazy town.
Yeah. Does it essentially mean independent? You have the independent say in what the company is going to do.
Like,
there's nobody telling you how to run it.
Here's a topical example. I'm pretty confident right now if Taylor Swift wanted to make her own albums and not have a record label, she could successfully do that.
Yeah.
But if she did that, in my mind, she would not be indie.
Right.
The way I use the word, which might be the wrong way to use the word, because she's a billionaire and like is not the same as some small musician, even if they had a label that was tiny. Like this like indie band is like there's a scale that's important there.
Well, and that brings in with similar with Equinox and Asmodee is like if you're an independent studio utilizing your industry contacts, does that suddenly make you different just because you have advantages? Like Andrew with Earthborne Rangers had contacts that he could utilize that a brand new game developer would not have. So he had an advantage because of his history within the industry. But when he was at FFG, he was not managing an independent studio, but he makes his own, but he uses a lot of contacts that he made at FFG.
Yeah.
Giving him an advantage. Is that truly an indie style studio?
But in this case with Altered, they have an exclusive worldwide distribution channel through Asmodee.
Right.
Which is not, that's a significant piece of this. That's like a partnership. And there's some good examples coming in the chat. One is Andrew saying Lucasfilm pre-Disney indie. And I think they were.
Yeah.
Like George Lucas was making the prequels and he answered to him.
He sure did.
And God love him.
And in retrospect, some of the best Star Wars films we'd ever seen.
Man, we didn't know how good we had it. Oh. But, we did get Andor out of it.
This more is a clarifying question.
Independent from what? That's the question.
If you want to actually define indie, it's independent. And then independent from what?
Is Covenant independent?
I think so.
You have to be able to make a lot of bad decisions.
That's right.
That's the key.
You have to be able to make decisions that are not logical in the short term.
Independent from corporate ownership. But we're incorporated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We technically have a board.
But if another corporation bought Covenant, we would no longer be independent.
That's right.
It's something about having an outside interest dictating decisions within the organization.
Right.
That's what I would say it is.
And you're answerable to, the thing is, and what do you consider outside? Because I was going to say you're answerable to a group of entities, right? They're shareholders or companies or whatever. But even then, it's like you can have shares and you can have a board and be answerable to a board as a company. I don't know that you'd be independent anymore, though.
I don't think you can.
Even if it's small.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Like once you're answering to a committee or a board, all soul and heart is gone.
And Andrew had mentioned in our Discord too that there's something about the creator or the head of the studio still being intimately involved in the design of the products. That you're not so far removed that the decision making isn't direct. And that's typically what we associate indie with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've been on this. This is a weird tangent from a business perspective, but I'm on this like responsibility and authority kick, and not giving people responsibility if they don't have the authority.
He's really been on an authority kick. You guys wouldn't even understand what happens when these cameras go off. It's just.
But like the reason I say that is organizationally, you want maybe a better example would be like Four Seasons, which is a common example, but like they give authority for their staff to make pretty big decisions for their guests all over the world on a day-to-day basis. And now the leadership / executives were in charge of making the decision to allow them to make that decision, but they aren't actually intimately involved in the decisions that get made day to day.
Sure.
And of course, they're not independent. But I can see a world where you have people doing things at an independent company or studio where the person in charge is not as intimately involved. That I would still probably consider independent. But it's,
I can see it. Like if Navarro basically said, I'm going to build an Earthborne company where I'm not going to oversee any decisions. I'm going to empower you with all authority in this area, and then I'm going to see what you do, and that's it, and I'm going to accept it. They would still technically be independent, even though Andrew Navarro would not have direct creative control of a lot of the output.
Yeah, and it would be unlikely he would do that fully.
He would never do that, Zach.
Yeah, but like...
He's a perfectionist. He's got to have it perfect.
Yeah, but I think you could get to a point where 90% of it is happening, and there's feedback happening, and there's some things you're directing, but I get it too. Like, to me, there's a certain like... that's why size I think matters. There's a closeness to the outputs that is relevant. That signature, that DNA being in there, that at a certain scale, and that's also why when you're reporting to a board or something, you just start losing that because now you're making decisions partially to please the board and the shareholders, and not just bringing something into the world you wanted to bring into the world.
It's like how record labels would buy an act, license the music, and then be like, for your next record, this is what you need to put out because we know it's going to sell well. Yeah. That happened all the time in early country music. I was watching those documentaries.
Crazy.
Cardboard Guide. What's up, Cardboard Guide? Saying indie to me means an individual or group of individuals making their own game with passion and drive without major financial support. So if you have a lot of money, are you indie?
And I think that's part of what makes the Altered thing, at least from, I know very little about the company or the people behind it, but like from the pictures, it looks like there's a large group, and the resources you would have to approach it in this way is gigantic. Plus you get the Asmodee built-in global distribution deal from the get-go. So does it feel indie? But the person responsible, if they're very much in control and it's their money they're putting up, like it could be that situation, right? Like I've been successful over here. I'm pursuing this thing. So it could still maybe get there, but like it just doesn't feel.
I like Matthew.
We're really bad at words.
I mean, English
as people,
is terrible.
Yeah, it's all
Words
just
are insufficient most of the time.
Yeah, I learned that German word for longing recently. Claire left that in a comment, a YouTube comment. There's a word specific for the kind of longing that I embody. So that's interesting.
Freedom,
right? Yeah, like this there's a longing, like there's something deeper that is missing and that you want. Yeah, like there's just this kind of like sad beauty.
Elf sad.
Elf sad. That's what we call it in English, elf sad. The Germans call it, Flugen whatever, but what do they call it? German word for longing. I'm going to pull it up right here.
There was a comment that came through. Let me find it.
Sehnsucht. I don't want to start pronouncing foreign words on the stream because I could be saying, who knows what I could be saying. If I say it wrong, you know how you actually say like, diaper or whatever. Longing, yearning, desire, nostalgia. Wait, hold on. I can get the...
Sehnsucht.
Sehnsucht. I have a lot of Zinzu.
I mean, it's really just that the world is getting more and more insane, and none of it really matters. And like, you really just wanted to get back to the basics. But I mean, really, it's like...
I was trying to have a romantic take on it,
No, but I think the romantic take is like, life is enough. So like, let's get rid of the noise.
Yeah.
And boil it back down to, sitting by the fire with friends, or being out on the land, or
scanning a few QR codes with your buds.
Eating honey from the bees that are in the hive by your house, right? Or scanning some QR codes with your buds, with drinking some buds. What's up?
Moments on the Path deck has been revealed by the Earthborne Rangers team, at least some of it. I don't know that all of it.
Wow, that was like a 30-minute segue.
It was just the top card.
It was very cool. So it's like they had moments in the Path deck to begin with, like when Arkham, you reveal a one-time thing, and then they found a way to make it work, because what they were finding was a lot of times the Path deck is so important that there's a lot of things on the board that all interact to make it feel alive. And you'd go for strings of just drawing moments, and then there would be nothing on the board, and it would be like really not feeling like Earthborne. So very cool. We're going to be deck building today after this, fairly briefly, it looks like, because we are bloviating to the max today. So join us, stick around for that. And the EBR team did post a printable character sheet. Did we print some? Oh, yes.
Character sheet.
Look at this. White piece of paper. You can't see anything on it.
Yeah, we put it on there. Put it on there. You still can't see anything.
But anyway, this is
it's like an RPG character sheet.
Role-playing game that they've got to be making, right?
Oh, this is...
It's not for that. No, this is for the game, for Earthborne, the game.
It's kind of cool, though. Can you imagine if you created a character in RPG, which would also tell you the cards you need to put in your deck for the card game?
Imagine if one of your developers actually worked on the Dune. Was it a Dune RPG?
No, Stormlight Archive.
Stormlight Archive RPG. That would be crazy.
It all comes back to Sanderson, baby. Yeah, but that would be cool. Like, you built a deck, and it's like you also have an RPG character, or vice versa. Matthew, Zach the Nihilist.
Let's talk about alphaclash here for a second. Tavern Brawlers continue. They just won't quit. And apparently Lee over there at Tavern Brawlers, we have it on good authority from a community member of ours, Ryan Roper, that Lee is a great guy doing great work. So cheers to that. They're hosting a Clash Grounds pre-release kit webcam tournament. Registration for that's going to close on the 18th, so get your registration in there. And then we're going to put the link in the details or description of this video. So if you're interested in playing in that, check it out. Lee is doing good stuff. And see the alphaclash Discord for more details. And they also recently did a podcast, which I'm sure we'll talk more about at some point. But they did their first episode.
That was really cool. I like that they're doing that.
Talk about indie. That's an indie studio right there. They are just love of the game. They are just pushing every boulder they can find to make it work. And I respect that very much. Arkham Horror Hemlock Vale is releasing next week. Both of those at the same time. Don't forget, that was changed at the last second from our friends over there at Asmodee. Fantasy Flight Games also announced the Dream Eaters repackaged expansions, the penultimate pair of repackaged expansions for Arkham Horror, the card game, moving from the old format of Mythos packs into the new format of 2 big boxes to make it basically a board game experience. So that's great. And Arkham, so next week, we got Arkham going on. But not necessarily we have Arkham going on, but Arkham Release is going on. Yeah. And I think we'll have to look through Hemlock Vale, right? Like open it up. And
that's up to you, dog.
Oh, I
just work here.
Next week we'll be in Seattle.
That's right. In Seattle.
In fact, this week we'll be in Seattle. We're going to SorceryCon.
We're going to be recording some incredible footage at SorceryCon. I can't wait for that surprise.
Yeah, we jumped ahead to the sorcery section of the news. Hold on, let's go back to that.
Ashes, nothing really new for Ashes. The Siege came out. The new box set is first preview article was last week, I believe, that they put that up.
I think they were going to drop the new one up today.
Thought they would put one up today, but not yet. Looks great. Again, a PvE game, PvE and PvP, but they're really pushing the PvE set of releases here. I think we're now 3 of the 7 planned. This is the 3rd. This is the 4th. We've had Corpse.
The next one's the 4th one.
Frostwild, Blight. And so this is the 4th of 7, one for each school of magic. Check that out. Also, if you're ever wanting to catch up on Ashes stuff, they've still got 30% off over at their website as far as we can tell. So you can go get the back catalog and get it rolling. Flesh and Blood, moving on to that one. Heavy Hitters continues to be received very well. I think the general commentary online is that the meta is healing, recovering, etc. Of course, if you remove enough heroes, eventually somebody gets their time in the sun, but it feels very tight balance-wise.
Notably,
very good.
There was a call in Liverpool this weekend.
Yes.
And the calling was limited. So I think Kasai won technically, but like
draft sealed.
Drafts and stuff. But the Battle Hardened was constructed and won by New Prism.
Oh.
And we already were in like there were 7 or 8 really viable heroes out of 15. And that was not on the list.
Yeah.
So it seems like they had this, from a design perspective, if you're out there, they had a really big choice to make and a challenge, which was for about a year, the cards and heroes that came out were probably a little ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And instead of keeping the game at that level, they decided to pull it back. But that also meant for like a good year, the heroes they were introducing were just not quite on the same level, mostly.
So you get a new exciting hero, but you couldn't play it viably in a
competitive tournament for a competitive game. So that was tough. But all those heroes that are seemingly too far ahead of the curve have gone. Mm-hmm. And this set really, even in the first weekend, KO, another one of the heroes from this set, I think won a big tournament. So we've already seen a very different change of pace. And then the draft and seal apparently is great from the set.
What a tremendous amount of patience it took for them to get there.
I mean, I think a lot of games would have just banned those heroes.
Yep.
Very quickly.
They said no.
Yeah.
Moving on to sorcery, Zach appears on video with none other than Jesse from the Winning Agenda, making any number of quotable faces.
Quotable face. I've always said I've got a quotable face.
The amount of pictures I take from that video just to post.
I reached out to Jesse. We go way back to the Netrunner days. Mm-hmm. Great guy. He's now helping with the content officially over at Sorcery.
Which is a good thing.
But I'm planning on playing in the SorceryCon Constructed Tournament this weekend. And so I reached out to him just to see, hey, would you be willing to play some games with me so I can see where the floor is at on some of the competitive games, right? Because like I have some decks that I've been playing locally and I win a lot of games. But like it's really common when you're just in your own little meta that you think certain decks are good. And then you see where the true floor of a good competitive game or deck is, and you're nowhere close. I've been to those tournaments, and it's brutal.
It can be brutal.
I
find myself there often as well. You might imagine.
Yeah, I've witnessed it. I've seen you go to that bar over in Edmond round 3 more times than I care to. It's sad. Anyways, I was doing that, and then the day of, he's like, "Hey, are you okay if I film some of these to maybe post?" It's like, I do not care. But honestly, because I was at home, and while we were playing, I just totally forgot it was on camera.
Yeah.
I think I'm just like,
sometimes
I'm like
here too.
Back, and I'm like, yeah, you do. You get into it. But he's a great dude, and that was fun to see that happen and to be able to watch it back and see all the mistakes I made. That's how you learn.
I love Chris Jensen. Heavy Hitter's top 3 best sets ever, by the way, for Fab. So that's good to see. Stefan Van Den Broek, the quality of this live stream is increasing by the week. Look at all those pop-ups. Hey, we live to serve.
Look at you, John.
We're looking to Kaizen.
Just wait until we get that John cam. It's going to be wild in here.
Very happy to hear that.
You think we should go to 4K? What do you guys think?
But why?
That's just a good joke. Sorcerer also had the interview. Did you talk about that with David?
I know, but I watched it. He had a lovely t-shirt on.
It's wonderful. And we'll be talking to David a lot on camera too for the filming that we're doing up there at SorceryCon. But David putting on this event, or at least is the face of the event. There are 2 people involved. David is one of them. But
the floating skull.
Doing a great job. Got a sold out event like pretty quick, and we're going to check it out. 75 slots, 74 slots, I think something like that will be playing.
I would guess 72 if it's in the 70s for
tournament
reasons. Yeah.
Doing sealed on one day, doing constructed on one day, doing free play on that Friday, and I think it's going to be a great time. And it just goes to show you, I mean, people can organize for this kind of stuff, and this is the way, the old-fashioned, again, donning the sweater. This is the way we used to do it.
You've earned that sweater today.
You had to, you put an event out there, and you said anyone from around the country or the world can show up if you like this thing that I like, because I'd like to do it with other people. And then they come in and they do it, and you pretty soon you got yourself a little convention there. So I'd love to see this happen. It's happening all over the country. It's happening down in Texas with Drew on the play. It's happening over in the Baltimore East Coast area.
Florida,
Louis involved in that, and other people are doing some qualifiers. The Courtesan Cup. I mean, this was an exercise in what happens when we don't give organized play fed down from the publisher to the local store, what will happen? And I think we're seeing it, and it's very encouraging for me.
It's cool because it's less fed down, but also
supported.
Publisher is lifting up.
Publisher is taking everyone who's already motivated to do these things and lifting them up and saying, "Great job!" And Eric's doing everything backwards,
and I love it,
and it's perfect.
I'm here for it. Jan had a comment about 4K. You should probably want to see.
I think YouTube limits bitrate unless you do some deals with them on the back end, so 4K would be more hassle than it's worth, to my knowledge. Oh, we got those YouTube backroom deals. They say, you know what? These guys have been pushing out content for 17 years on our platform.
And they haven't made a dime.
They haven't advertised at all, which means they're completely dead to us. They mean nothing.
Well, and I don't know, 4 or 5, 3 to 7 hour streams for about 3 years that are being stored on their servers for free. I don't know who's winning the exchange, but I don't think it's YouTube, honestly.
We're definitely trying. It's a fight. It's a fight. Finally, Marvel Champions live stream from Fantasy Flight Games on February 21st. The designers are going to play the first scenario for Age of Apocalypse. That's always a fun and enlightening thing to watch.
I played the fourth scenario this weekend for Mutant Genesis.
Yep.
The original X-Men campaign. And it was my favorite scenario I played in a long time.
Beautiful.
It reminds me, it does remind me, it feels like someone designed and played Wrecking Crew. And then everything that could be made better about that, they made better in that scenario.
Oh, that's great.
And they just stick the land. It was really a good time.
That's great. Ryan Earthborne saying, if only there were some place mid-U.S., like, say, Oklahoma, to gather and play. We're re-engaging. It's happening. It's about to get really spicy.
That would be cool.
For that space. About to get really spicy. And then finally, bulkbox. We got them.
You want them, we got them.
Yeah, you want them, we got them.
They're over there.
Hey, I'm gonna record a how to put the bulkbox together video. Like one that we can market as that, not in the announcement itself, and not just kind of like cowboying it, but actually like.
Well, you have the Zach way, which has been done, and then you have the Steven way, which needs to be done.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the pieces of the and I'm going to write numbers on them, and then I'm going to do so we're going to take 1 and put it on 3, fold.
I think it sounds great.
Yeah, because there's some people that have said in that like these are great, but they're hard to put together.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that would probably love that.
Yeah, marketing, I guess.
I approve.
And then lastly, let's talk about Earthborne Rangers. Anyone else, if you're about to sign off for the day because you don't care about Earthborne Rangers, you don't want to watch the deck building or anything like that, you got any questions, anything else you want to say before you leave, let us know. I'm going to get untangled here. I got my charger just deeply stuck down in here.
And I love that you're just talking down and away from the mic completely.
It's the weirdest thing, man.
Yeah, Steven found a way.
Live Crew, digging the Monday Live format.
What up?
Love it.
Yeah, we got.
Happy to hear that.
We're gonna keep working on it.
Well, it's like the podcast met the stream, and then we added news into it.
They fought in an alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Where does the podcast sit in all this?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Where does the podcast sit in all of this?
People love the podcast. Love it.
Well,
yeah. I'm gonna work during the day.
Just because some number of people. Maybe a lot, maybe a little, love it.
I know how many people love it, about 4,000.
You don't know how they love it.
I know how many people download it and listen to it on Spotify.
Specifically Spotify.
Yes, they have it reporting that's separate from the distributor.
Yeah, it's tough to say.
That's a lot of people, though.
But like, it's really, if we're going to keep having topics on stream, it's hard to have topics for both, and the time for both, and the playing of both, and the prep for both, and even that doesn't count produce stuff.
We could turn it into a tabletop gossip podcast. I heard gossip podcasts are all the rage.
Can we call it something about spilling the tea?
Ooh, or we could do a true crime in tabletop podcast. You could have a year of MetaZoo content that way.
I unfortunately thought about Decipher, which that's just a
There's
tragedy.
some things there. We could talk about what else? What else has been? I mean, there's a number of TCGs that have folded. We could make that the podcast, like a detective series into
Why did this game fail?
4-part of all these different games. Why did X fail? 4 parts. Build up. Set the
Jan's
tone.
on it. He called it tabletop tea.
Tabletop tea.
Spill the tea, baby. John smiled.
Tabletop tea. Triple T. Okay, we like it. Do the bulk boxes fit cards and top loaders? Nick, I did you solid. I put the dimensions of the interior rows of the bulk box on our product page. So you can go find those there. You can measure your top loaders and say, will or will not this fit? Some top loaders do. Some top
You've been reading
don't.
Shakespeare?
Yeah, that's right.
Or Yoda? I don't know.
Some of them do, and even some of them are, it varies. You just got to measure them. I think I put them in millimeters. The only way to measure
the standard
something.
American measurement?
Yeah, the only way to really measure. Okay, let's talk about Earthborne.
Yep.
I'm going to give you this. I don't know if you're not going to use it.
Not a chance.
No way you're going to use that. Let's build a character. So here's what's happening going into this.
I see why you have the page now.
Yeah, we got the stack, so that we got the cards in front of us. We got all of our core set cards, plus the new cards.
Oh, really? Is this your collection?
I think it's the marketing collection.
Wow.
That's the marketing. Yeah, we're official now.
We were talking about that this morning. Yeah, we're no longer indie. We don't have to buy personally the things that are on camera. Like,
that's right. That's right.
I'm glad I did though.
All right, your first decision, Zach. First of all, let's think about thoughts here. Is there anything in particular that you're kind of curious to build? Because I'll tell you what I'm curious to build since you asked. Vigilant Lookout. Scout 1 path card. Right here from the... Is this in focus, Jonathan? This overhead?
It looks blurry.
It looks a little blurry.
Oh yeah, hey, there really is a ghost in here. There's a real ghost. Whenever I was doing the resyncing the stuff up for the tutorial today, I checked.
We were filming the last part of an Earthborne tutorial today.
There's officially a ghost.
Well, it still looks blurry, so I guess maybe it is fine.
Well, the thing is it's probably this is good, but those are blurry because they're up.
Or is it just the monitor?
That looks blurry.
There we go.
There it is.
There it is. I wonder if it was blurry during our recording earlier.
Sharpen it.
So sharpen it in post?
Yeah.
Why do we even bother with any of this?
As just to remind me.
Yeah.
I haven't built the Earthborne deck thing. So we're gonna choose there's gonna be a stat card.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a background.
Hold on a second, I've got the thing.
It's right here on the list.
Oh.
Background.
Is it in order? It's not in order though.
I think that's actually how they have you do it. No, you don't. You do roll last typically.
I think you do roll last. No, maybe this is in order. Did you guys put this in order?
So it's stats and personality definitely
yes.
start. And technically. But that's a weird way to build a character, and I'll tell you why in a second. You have background and specialty as separate things. And then that's your current deck list apparently, and this is what you upgraded into.
But I think
the reason it's weird to pick your stat card first, which is fine. Like you got to start somewhere, and it's sort of like a circle. Like there's not really a great place to begin.
No, this is it. No, you do roll at the end of background and specialty.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Got it.
I feel like knowing your role, as an example, like I got to the end and got to roll, and it totally changed my entire.
Yeah.
So you got to like go back and forth. Even like with stat cards, like to me, background and specialty is where the bulk of your deck is.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was a stat I was looking at, but then there was a card I really wanted down here that needed a 2 up here. And so there was some oscillating.
Yeah.
So personally, I like starting here first myself, but you can do. I'm
As
here for
always, the
ride.
agent of chaos.
Just crazy.
So Vigilant Lookout has this exhaustibility, Scout 1 path card. Okay?
What is this? This is the Explorer?
I'm going to build, what is it? I'm going to build the Scout deck. It's going to be dedicated to scouting the
That's
path
all the
deck.
Explorer cards are.
Oh, are you gonna? Oh, you're not doing the Shaper Challenge Scout craziness. Remember you were talking about that Scout the Challenge deck.
This is scouting the path card. This is what I want.
Okay.
I want to scout the path cards.
This is appealing. So Gage, can you pull up the Gage Bacon comment?
Got it.
What areas in Earthborne do you believe have the most design space to build upon? How deep could it go? So here's the notable thing to me about this. It almost reminds me of Arkham, because the number of stories you can tell in the universe with the rule set is
Infinite. It's just how many words do you want to type.
Yeah. So from a design space standpoint, I think that half you could run that as long as you really wanted to. And the question is you engaging with it as a player with the player cards fresh enough with a new story or with a changing story to keep you engaged?
Yeah.
And like, I'm gonna be honest, like Arkham, I think they keep producing player cards, and sometimes it gets like more interesting or complex and interesting or whatever. But like, I think I could play Arkham forever without any new player cards happening.
Yeah.
At this point,
I agree.
as long as they kept putting out more stories.
I totally agree.
So I think the same could be true of Earthborne, and it's really just a matter of you like the feeling and system that is created. And at a certain point, you have so many combinations of things that like, it's wild.
I think the Spirit Speaker bringing in a new test card means that the lid is kind of blown open on what you can do.
Like a new,
yeah, the Spirit Speaker tests, and just the small tweaks you can make. Now, obviously, they've limited themselves in the only 3 max of any stat currently, but they're about to change that apparently and do a 4-2-1-1 in the next one.
That makes sense.
But there's only so many ways you can manipulate this stat and that stat. It's not like you have a 20 that you can say this costs 10 spirit and it's the variation is high. But
I do feel like the amount of player cards you can start the game with are so constrained right now. Not in a bad way, but like even on that side of the fence, like they introduced new cards for each of these. I think background and specialties in some expansions, and like I think these card pools could be 10 times the size
probably,
and not overborn.
I also know they have a planned. They have it planned.
Yeah.
They're only going to make so much product and they're going to be done. So they probably already know.
He kind of said that.
He said that.
He said there's a story that they're wanting to tell.
He said that.
But then he said that they could go past that.
This is the same Andrew Navarro that had that article on FFG that was like, I think we should accept and celebrate the lifespan of an LCG as a finite pocket and not pretend that they're going to go on forever.
Well, let's find out what indie entrepreneur business owner Andrew says when he gets
business hotshot
7 expansions in, concludes the mainline story, and then has tens of thousands of Earthborne players that are like, yo,
just dollar signs in his eyes.
Yeah, but I think it would be, I would be surprised, and we'll see what he says. That's hilarious from Andrew
Fisher with a 20-0 -5 -10 stat card is going to be wild.
Like I think it is really nice. It's like a good TV show to me at this point. I love TV shows that have a set ending and don't just go until they exhaust themselves.
Like, isn't Andor season 2 the end of Andor?
It is.
Yeah, beautiful.
You know, originally they announced it was going to be 5 seasons. That's what I said. I was like, how do you tell 5 seasons of a story between Andor and Rogue One?
Just think about the fact that they were able to turn 5 into 2.
Yeah.
How much garbage there was in 5 seasons of that show.
Yeah. When they announced that when they first announced that at Celebration, first of all, I was not interested in that story at all.
Yeah.
And then they said it was 5 seasons, and I was just like, how? Like, really though, how?
You wouldn't believe how much scripts you can write.
Yeah.
You need
Anyways,
to.
I was really happy they went down to 2. All that to say, I feel like once the Earthborne story is wherever Andrew saw it going, we'll see what happens. But I would not necessarily be surprised, because this is only one small piece of this universe, right? This valley, and we'll see how far they go in the
What if they go
expansions,
across the ocean and then there's an endless number of adventures to have?
I'm just saying.
Maybe you just release a little pack of cards that represent 5 new locations, etc. Andrew Navarro, we'll see what happens when we get there.
Boom!
First things first.
Babe called the shot.
I start calling you Babe on screen.
But that is a great mentality. He has an arc he wants to tell, and also it's like, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, let's do the X number of seasons, get there. If there's going to be a prequel like you have with the Breaking Bad,
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul, right?
There's probably not a better television show.
Like, I think you can have prequels. You can go, but it's a question of like, are you just doing this to print more money, or are you doing this because you have a vision?
Yeah.
As long as the vision's there, I think it'll be great.
And when have prequels ever gone wrong? Also, Andrew, you have it on our humble authority on this here stream. We will let you know when Earthborne is getting bad and when it needs to stop. Because nobody told Lucas. Nobody told season 2 True Detective guy. Although he said they were just time cramped and they couldn't write a good story. Nobody told season 85 of Lost or whatever. Somebody's got to say something.
Well,
okay,
that's a different problem. That's a Game of Thrones problem.
Nobody told Game of Thrones. Did they? You think somebody said, guys, this
All
is
I know
utterly garbage?
Is before season 8 came out, there were a lot of interviews with Emilia Clarke, the actress for Daenerys.
Yeah.
And like, she has a really expressive face.
Yes, she does.
And so people would be like, how are you feeling about season 8? And she would say something like, best season ever. But like, you could tell on her face, it was just like horrified. So I'm sure they were talking.
Okay.
They just wanted out to the Star Wars movie that got canceled.
Well, we'll let you know.
We won twice.
We'll let you know. Okay, so I'm going to build a scouting deck. And so that necessarily means I got to be the explorer because I want to include all the cards that scout path cards from the top of the path deck so that we can speed run a campaign by finding the connections we need at any location. How powerful would that be?
So, and what is explorer is a specialty?
I'll never know.
So the background is like what you did in your past, shepherd, that kind of thing.
Well, I could have been an explorer in my past.
That's just not one of those things, though.
Well, that solves it.
Because we have, let me see this real quick.
Yeah, the background's like what?
Artisan, shepherd,
Forager,
and traveler.
Tail spinner.
Don't give that trail spinner.
I gotta be a tail spinner. Let me see if there's any scout cards here.
Yeah, you gotta have a theme, you know?
Yeah, that's the only way I build decks.
People also, I had the comment about not being excited about Andor, and I agree. Andor is one of the best Disney Star Wars things that has happened. It may be the best. Star Wars Rebels is pretty good. Clone Wars with Save was pretty good.
Those are like cartoons, man.
Yeah, dude. Hey, Last Airbender's not good either, is it?
That's an anime.
So, is this...
Wasn't there that weird Star Wars anime?
There is a...
Like Voyager or something?
Nah, what's it called? It's not an anime. It's like different anime studios make an episode, but they're not connected at all. So it's like a season of 8 to 10 episodes that are wildly different. The first one was incredible. The second episode was not. Background is early life. Specialty is what you're focused on in your adult life now.
Huh. All right.
I'm waiting for you to make your choices.
Well, yeah, I gotta find out where my.
I feel like I would be doing our friends at home a disservice if I didn't pick. If you're picking this, if I didn't pick this new stack of cards here.
Okay, here's a good example.
The Spirit Seeker.
Here's a good example. The hero escapes bravely from the tail spinner. There,
he bravely ran
choose
away.
being within reach. They fatigue the ranger, shuffle them into the path deck, and then scout a number of path cards equal to their presence, and then draw one.
So you're a scouter.
I could scout there. I could be a scout thing.
I love that art. The hero escapes bravely. Oh, so good.
You think that's a Monty Python joke? He bravely ran away. Sir Robin?
Maybe.
Is it Sir Robin?
Sir Robin, you got it.
Sir Robin. And then here's that reward that I can't show you apparently.
Oh yeah, that one wasn't upside down.
He bravely ran away.
Okay, so there's one really scouting the path deck card in the tail spinner pool. Let's see. Let's just go to our favorite digital tool, Rangers DB.
Where's the romance? Look through all these cards, Steven.
No.
That's a digital integration I actually really like. Because
I can't search text.
Can't
you?
Oh, I can.
Okay.
Scout. Anyway, what were we saying there?
that's a level of technological integration I like, but it is one of those. It's making it easier, which could remove the specialness and romance of the entire thing if you had to physically go through all your stuff to figure this out. Yeah. But there's so much to physically do and actually play the game that saving the time of not looking through all these cards to find this. I would rather have that happen.
There's a shaper that does this.
And you're saying not at all intentionally a Monty Python reference.
Well, how can you prove that? Is Shaper in the same stack as Explorer?
Yes.
Okay. Jonathan already did all this. That's very nice.
Wait. Are you turning this back in?
Is he gonna shape?
Yeah.
Are you shaping now? Hold on.
No, I'm not. But there is the Stave of the Sun. Exhaust, use excellent, scout X path cards. Conduit.
It's because your awareness stats are 3. Look at that thing.
There's also the Novice Lens. After you perform a test, when you rest, that's scouting challenge cards. And then the Rod of the Clouds is scouting ranger cards. So I could do Stave of the Sun Shaper.
Dude, look at the Rod of the Clouds. That looks awesome.
It looks so cool. And they're not wizards, of course, but it's pretty cool to have a wizard adjacent thing to play. The Explorer, which I could be, has the Hydra Lens goggles, scout path cards equal to your effort, and the photosonic headset. When a ranger scouts the number of cards scouted by 1, that's it. So it's got to be Explorer. Oh my gosh, I've got the combo already.
Now, could you outside interest that card and not be the Explorer? Because it's only a 2, right? It's not Expert.
It's both of these together, though. It's 2 cards I need.
Both from Explorer?
Yeah. Now, old Riri the Sparrowhawk has a Scout Path card test on it. That's in Shepherd.
Now, you could be a Shepherd.
And then I could outside interest Eagle Eye from Traveler, Scout 3 Path cards, draw 1. I've got it all built. It's already happened.
Deckbuilding in this game is so easy, actually. Like it.
You can explore with a hawk?
Yes.
Very cool.
I mean, of course
So
you
cool.
are. What else would we be doing?
I want to play this now. I don't even want to play my old Ranger.
You know what the cool thing is?
You can.
You just can. That's what we were. I'm in a 4-player group, and someone was really like nervous they would be locked on a deck they didn't like.
Yeah.
It's like if we get 5 days in, we're writing down all the rewards and stuff. It's like your character disappears and a new ranger joins us, and we still have all the same rewards. So like you don't lose anything. Like have a good time.
So here's what I'll do.
Oh, you're like actually right.
I agree with everything that you said. I wasn't meaning to.
Yeah, I assume if
discount.
you have no comment, then you just agree with everything I've said.
Thank
There's
you,
a lot of.
Can you
know.
spread that? Can you tell my wife that that's how that works?
Woo! I didn't know we were making wife jokes today.
All right, check it out. So I know that all the cards that I want to play that scout take a minimum 2 awareness. Or that's the maximum. There's not a 3 awareness card that I have to play.
Okay.
I might want 3 awareness because I have an awareness test on the Sparrowhawk and an awareness test on Hydra Lens goggles. Yeah. So this is like a likely 3 or 4 in the new cards, which apparently are coming.
And you know,
5, 2, 2, 1.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
That's what he said.
No, it's not.
No, I can't. That makes no sense.
It's 4, 2, 1, 1.
5, 2, 2, 1 would be just the 3, 2, 2, 1, but 2 extra stats.
Yeah, fair enough. Math.
I think it's 4, 2, 1, 1. Now they could do a 5, 1, 1, 1 and play like all my D&D characters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the joke.
That's the joke.
Okay,
Yeah.
4, 2.
Yeah, like you have like a skeleton.
Totally.
It's like a skeleton with 1 constitution that somehow is a 20.
Yeah.
Charisma.
I mean, you just have a 5 fitness, 1 everything else, and it's the brute. I mean,
Yeah.
that's gonna happen. It's fine.
That is gonna happen. All right, so I like awareness here.
4, 2, 2, 1 is the.
Oh wait, no, he's got there it is.
Yeah,
4,
4,
2,
2,
1,
1, 1. That makes sense.
4, 2, 1, 1. Oh, that's punishing you.
The world that makes sense. I dig that.
Okay, so I'm gonna take the Explorer cards, which I know that I need.
It's right there with the orange on the top. This thing, right? No, you already have
I
it.
have them. Okay, I've done that already.
Little double.
Then I'm gonna take the Shepherd cards because I'm gonna get the Hawk for my thing, and then I get to choose 5 of each using the Zach Bunn school of deck building, right? Is that right?
Yeah. It's 5 of each. It's right there on the list.
See, are you doing that now? As this is what's happening currently?
Are these cards in the room with us right now? So hold on. You're picking neither.
I'm a Shepherd Explorer,
So
but
you're not a spirit speaker or a bard.
no. But you're gonna build the bard.
You
I
did
think.
neither.
But-
Zach's obviously the bard.
There's a lot of new Explorer and Shepherd cards that I'll probably use from the
Can you
expansion.
hand me the bard cards? I mean, not the bard cards. The tail spinner.
What's up, Janal son? Hey, good to see you on the live stream. Glad to have you in the chat there.
So tail spinner is my background. Is that right?
Yes.
It's like a shepherd situation.
Yeah. Yeah, tail spinner's your background. So I'm actually working from the bottom up, like you said. Interesting. I don't like it when you're right.
Wait a second.
When you
I heard that. Let's back up for a second. I do this anytime my wife says, "Yeah, you were right." I was like, "Hey, can you repeat that for me real quick? Let me get my phone out."
I bet she loves it.
That's what I was saying. Though.
She
It's
absolutely
like,
loves that.
yeah,
Definitely.
dude.
It
She
builds
laughs
a healthy
every
relationship.
time. Like, never been
She
better.
says, Zach, that's really clever. I'm just so happy I married you.
You know how many times she says that exact line? Literally, word for word. Really clever. Happy I married you. That's what I meant though by like, if you lock in your stats first, it's hard to know what you want until you get down into the cards. Same with the roll. Like the roll is really important to what you're doing here.
Well, I want those goggles.
Yeah. Okay, I'm doing tail spinner, but I need a speciality. Any recommendations that aren't spirit speaker?
Does the flavor bone in your body have a problem with me having the phonoscopic headset and the Hydra Lens goggles on?
One's
Do
for the ears,
I
one's
just
for
put the
eyes.
high lens goggles on top of these guys?
They both look like they're for the eyes, though.
It's got speakers on the eyes there. Or
Can you imagine?
It's like when you have your reading glasses on and then you put the big
sunglasses over top. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
We did talk about getting older.
Looks like I'm driving today. Okay, cool. So these are all great cards.
I'm not gonna do Shaper. Shaper and
Why don't you want to pick your 5 tailspinner first, or you want to have the whole?
yeah, no. Let me see if I can get a concept. Well, we're getting the loot.
Who designed this breathe into it card? I just can't bring myself to ever play this.
See it?
It's 2 cost, 1 time use. When you perform a test, discard cards from your fatigue stack to commit 1 effort for every 2 discard. That should be a 1/1 at least. You can reprint that baby in the new core set. Reprint that bad boy.
I mean, it does have 2 icons on it. That's probably worth your start.
Yeah, that's probably where it came from.
All right, let's look at the Dullwood loot.
Can you imagine a world, though, where you're actually going to discard like 6 or 8 cards from your fatigue stack to dunk a test? It would have to be so important.
It would have to be.
Maybe.
You would have to be so not injured that entire time to discard that stack. Yeah. High risk, high reward. Maybe I'll run it.
So Dullwood loot comes with 3 strums. I can exhaust, use a strum, choose a ranger that ranger suits 2 fatigue. I can exhaust, use a strum. After a ranger suits 3 or more fatigue, they randomly shuffle one of those cards into their deck.
It's good loot.
Wait a second. After they suit 3 or more, they randomly shuffle one of the cards into their deck. Why would we do that when they could just suit 2 fatigue with a strum?
Get an extra draw.
What does it say? Suit 3 or more fatigue. It's just 3 or more fatigue. They
randomly shuffle one of those into their deck.
Yeah, so that extends your time. So then that card can go.
I mean, we talked about that on stream. I remember.
You can make it longer there.
Like let's say you're Steve and you have nothing in your deck, and you know we're going to Lakeshore. This would be a good card for that. Just like the poor random example that probably has that.
All right, well, we got to play the Ranger Chronicles.
Ooh, I think I finally get to play Boundary Sensor. I love that card. What a card.
Look at the... I'm looking at the card. Ooh, that is very good. But I got to run the book, right?
You do or I do?
I do.
Yeah, you probably do.
After Ranger succeeds a test with 4 or more effort or suffers 2 or more fatigue, add a saga to this gear. Do you have anything that fatigues you by 2?
Not currently, but the environment typically kind of takes care of that.
What's your you're an explorer. What's the other thing?
They built this card for me.
Which one?
Nut rolled honey loaf.
Oh, we were wondering where you would use that.
You know why I would use it? Because I'm scouting the path deck during my turn to draw cards from it, and if it enters play during a ranger's turn, add 2 progress to the being when it comes into play.
That's good. Because you give him a slice of bread, dude.
Because if I scout and draw the card, and it's a being that I've scouted, I put it in, I put 2 progress on it immediately.
Pretty good.
It's
you
not.
don't even have to connect anymore.
It's not pretty good. That's 6 progress for 1 spirit.
No, that's pretty good.
I'm running that card, so that's in. This is pretty fun, man.
Yeah.
Character creation, always good.
We also got an ocarina. Transverse ocarina.
1 Naka, 2 Waka. Has anybody done that on YouTube? Like the ocarinas? It's a parody of the Macarena.
If the internet hasn't figured that out,
like somebody playing that song on the ocarina, guys, that's millions of views.
Hey,
it's millions of views if you're funny enough.
While you're talking about scouting over there, the strength of will. Response when a ranger resolves an effect that scouts and or draws cards from their deck. They do so from their fatigue stack instead.
But it's my deck, not the path deck. I looked
scouts
at that
and or draws cards from the.
I looked at that one in my little search, but it wasn't good enough. I'm trying to cheat the game here. You know?
Yeah, I do know. Ooh, the trail goes ever on. I love this art.
Is this personal travelogue any good?
Hey, do you have a way to take fatigue?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the game gives that. The game, I just have to take a test with things in front of me. And look at this, personal travelogue. When you suffer 1 or more fatigue, add an equal number of stories to this book. discard all from this book. If you discard at least 4, shuffle up to 2 from your fatigue stack into your deck.
You want to be the book bros?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Are you guys finding the use for better part of Vale now?
Well, I'm kind of thinking about it. Because if I'm doing a lot of scouting, this is one way to get us even closer to our the cards that we're looking for. But it also kind of it makes scouting worth less.
Is there a reward card that goes with this Go Forth Fearless Ranger?
Yeah. You're not supposed to look at that.
That's for the reward card.
I think that is the reward.
Does it say objective or reward on that?
Is the objective? Oh, that's not the reward.
We want it. I don't know what is attached to it, but we want it.
Or is it the reward?
I don't know. We'll pull it up and see. Oh, no, that's just the objective. No.
Well, that's good. We didn't reveal the reward for anybody not win that, I guess. Okay, hold on. I've got equipment problems.
Oh, too many pips.
So it's got to be here. And then I need another 1 pip.
I think we're getting somewhere for me.
So boundaries officially in.
I think it's out.
Oh, boundaries out.
I think boundaries out is my favorite thing, though. So I don't know. It's tough. I don't know, man. But I got to have the loaf. And I got to have these two to make the build work.
Andrew, can you make me a card with oats in it? If we're going to get honey loaves, I need some oats. It's just like the trail mix. I would just go right into the deck.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is all. See fatigue with the number of products on that. Fatigue. Okay, great. Cradled by the Earth is just an awesome card. What a card that is.
All right, so I've got 6 Tailspinner cards that might end up in my deck. But this is what I was saying. Background and specialty, I think, are important to start figuring out. And then you can start figuring out stats and all that kind of stuff. Even like gear, there's 2 pieces of gear here.
Yeah, I'm starting with gear, I think.
That take 2 slots. So like, yeah. Any votes on Andy Fish saying like oatmeal, granola, wet or dry oats? Well, if I was a ranger going on a several day situation, I would assume I would need to have like dry oats that I could, boil in some water.
So like make a meal out of it?
Yeah. Sort of like
the oatmeal.
You know how there's the tea card where you can what's the tea kit?
The tea kit. The tea kit.
Loose leaf tea kit.
Yeah.
So it looks something like that,
Loose oat kit.
No, what's the word for steel cut oat kit?
Yeah, or overnight
oat
oats.
Kit. The problem is you can't really
carbon forged oats. I like that.
you can't really overnight oats a 3 or 4 day situation. It would not work.
It would not work. You're right. Okay, hey, look at this. There's something starting to happen here. I think this is my loadout. I'm playing the Essidex.
Don't you mean your loaf out?
Ooh, okay, yeah.
I'm playing the Essidex because I'm going to scout the path deck really heavily and discover all the beings so that I can use the Essidex to get my 7 records.
Man, your character is going to be so teched up.
Definitely weird. Yeah. Clearly a weird character. Gonna have a hawk, though.
It's not getting less weird. Oh, the guy with the gear and the hawk. That guy. Oh.
Yeah. Let me take my giant goggles off.
So good.
Hawk on one arm, Essidex on the other.
Exactly. Ooh. Homeward Bound seems good for this build.
I feel like Conciliator is what I gotta do if I'm gonna be a bard. Because artificing bard, I don't know. There's just something. The romance is gone with the tech. You know what I mean? Maybe I could be afraid of technology as a character.
We'd make a great pair.
Don't worry, I'll take on that.
I mean, it's the classic, like, how did these guys end up together story.
Do like a buddy cop thing. Okay, could do calming presence. I think I'm not going to do the sheepdog. I think I'm going to stick with just the hawk. Dogs. What about this essay on shepherding, though? Oh, no. It does not. Add 1 to a being for every 2 after then on what I say to this book. Oh, that's so good, too, though. No.
So I've got 3 tails and a book. What?
Use 1 essay when a being would move. It does not. Add 1 progress to a being for every 2 effort. Then add 1 essay. I'm not going to do the essays on shepherding, no, not yet. Add it to your hand and discard another being from your hand to play the being you search for without paying its energy cost. Huh.
What's that one?
Piercing Whistle.
Oh, yeah, that's how you get Riri.
Yes. It is.
And didn't Zach have a search your deck card?
Do you ever search your deck card?
Scout your deck.
Tailspin?
Scout your fatigue stack.
Now, if you run Piercing Whistle with the Hawk and Oru, you're likely to be able to get it for free, but it really doesn't matter too much, does it? Let's play a Piercing. Let's get Piercing Whistle in here.
John saying, glad to see you guys made another podcast episode. Yeah, we're thinking about once every 8 months. drop an episode. Make sure it really feels special when we do it, you know?
Oh, they're tough decisions. Low. There are tough decisions. One being for each awareness in your energy pool.
Follow in Footsteps is like that one card that you played, except for the opposite.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
Follow in Footsteps. After you succeeded a connect test, add progress to a feature equal to your effort.
Right, you can just pass it back and forth.
Well, there's the orange card. What's that one called? The orange card with the wolf on it, I think.
Walk with me?
Walk with me.
Yeah.
That I think is the opposite, which is when you put progress on something, you put... I can't read it. Actually, a traverse test, you put progress equal to the thing. It says it's like the inverse. And there's also a wolf on this one.
Yeah, it's true.
We like that card.
There's a lot of, the wolves are there. Man, these shepherd cards are kind of wild, man.
Isn't that the first time we played and I immediately tried to kill something?
Yeah, you didn't read the back of the box on that one.
The box didn't exist yet.
All right.
To be fair,
Yeah. Move progress from the chosen being to each other card in play, up to 1 progress per card.
Oh, what's that one called?
Shepherds are strange. Deeper understanding. I gotta rethink what I'm doing.
Is Deeper Connection also a shepherd?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, tell me if I'm wrong. I think I'm supposed to, as a shepherd, I think I'm supposed to have at least a 2-spirit. I think I'm supposed to connect with my animal companions just to put progress on them. And then I'm supposed to push that progress to other helpful places.
That seems...
Isn't that how you're supposed to do it?
That does seem like a nice conveyor belt.
Because you want to connect with the animal that you have, and then you use cards such as a gentle nudge. That's probably not a great example. Like a deeper understanding.
Yeah.
So I put 4, let's say I connect with the hawk twice, and then I put 1 progress on a bunch of different things on the board.
This is crazy. Have you seen this card? A Dear Friend?
Like DEER?
DEAR.
No.
Not like a deer friend.
This is was high on the list of banner art for our website.
Oh, yeah. I like that as banner art.
Search the path. Cost 1. Search the path deck and discard for a human and put them into play with this card attached.
So, cool.
Well, you're always looking for people.
Yeah, you're always looking for people.
A dear friend, you just find them. But then, response, when the attached human is cleared, move the progress from it to any number of other beings divided as you choose.
It's incredible. And I'm going to have beings out like animals, and then I can use it. No, this is great. This is great. This is
for you. I got you.
What was the card you were just talking about?
A dear friend.
Supati number on that trail.
It'd be really funny if they put out another card called a deer friend, but DER, and it's like a companion deer. Do it. It's like this weekend we were playing X-Men, and I discovered the greatest missed opportunity in that game of all time. I played the character Beast. It's like, I do not know why all of the text and stats on this card are not printed upside down. So like the ready version of the thing is just like upside down.
Smart.
And I was like, that would have been so cool.
Yeah. Yep.
That one's free for a promo code. Asmodee/FFP.
Did you find the combo, Steven?
Are you still looking?
I'm still looking at oh, here. Jonathan, Homeward Bound. This is the key.
It was there all along?
I had it out already. Move all progress from a being to a feature, so check that out. You know, you dump all of that dear friend, that human, it goes to the Sparrowhawk afterwards, and then I send it from the Sparrowhawk to a feature, and we get out of dodge. And we clear a path, clear a trail, or clear a feature.
Let's ship that.
Let's ship it.
With these decks, we'll probably never play together.
We'll play them, dude.
Yeah? Put it on the box.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to have new cards. It's going to be like a long time before we have these cards.
We get 5 of these?
5, yeah.
5 of these. Okay. So I'm going to sit tight here, and then my outside interest, I'm going to have 1 slot available for each of these, and I'm not sure which one to do yet. I'm going to be the Vigilant Lookout.
How often do you think you're going to be doing these big moments I'll record in my chronicles? Is this like a dream that should only be like in a 4-player group situation?
What am I supposed to do?
After range succeeds a test with 4 or more effort or suffers 2 or more fatigue, add a saga.
I mean, I can definitely suffer fatigue if needed. 4 or more effort? I mean, you know, what's that going to look like? I don't know. I don't know how.
I think I'm coming off this card.
Wow. The most quintessential tail spinner card being.
No, I got the loot.
That's true. You're not writing, you're singing. You got to strum.
That's right.
The strumming.
We got singers, we got writers.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't need no book. I got a song.
I don't need no book. Oh, that's good stuff.
All right. I also, because of a dear friend, I just can't not picture it.
DEER?
I'm going to have to be 3 spirit, just so we're aware. Again, somehow. Let's see what else we got. So I also got some equipment slots that are open up. That wasn't part of my problem. Between the loot and the book, I was 4 of my 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's like too much.
These cards are insane, and the problem is I'm going to take them all. So there's not going to be any left for you. You're going to have to just think about it.
You're going to take what?
All these cards.
That's fine.
Every one of these. These cards are unbelievable. How many? We get 5 of these bad boys too? How many personality cards we get? 3?
4, right? 1 of each?
4.
1 of each color. Yeah.
I'm taking these 4.
Oh, dang.
These 4 new personality cards are the best cards in this game.
What's the requirements on this?
Huh?
What's the requirements?
Oh, right. I can only take 1 of them. Dang.
I
I thought of everything.
You're like, these are just so good.
Okay, I'll hold 1 slot for my good stat.
This where he says doesn't matter what game it is. Zach's always focused on the loot. Is that like a double entendre?
Mm-hmm. That's a good joke.
Yeah. I noticed he spelled it differently.
Is this good? Dauntless?
Ooh.
Sounds.
These are tough decisions.
That's why it had you start with a stat card and the personality card. It's like, how do you make those decisions without the...
I will note that I have 2 big awareness plus reason tests on the board. So... But I can't be a 1 spirit ranger. I can't be a 1 spirit shepherd. It's just not possible.
What is the challenge effect the like challenge deck icon stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at influential. I think it's one of the new cards.
Okay, I've realized now my fate here. I have to be at least 2 awareness. I have to be at least 2 spirit as a shepherd with connect tests and progress on beings. I have to have 2 spirit. I can't have 1 spirit. It's too wrong.
Okay. So where does that leave us?
I've got to have 2 fit, which means I've got to drop the Essidex.
Ooh. Difficult choices will follow.
But that does mean I could pick up the essay on shepherding. When a being would move, it does not. Exhaust to move a being. And then spirit test to deepen my understanding. Add 1 progress to a being for every 2 effort and 1 essay to this book. Which of course is not as good as a normal connect test. Can I be a 1 spirit shepherd?
Do your cards. As long as your cards say yes.
It sounds like a world of pain.
Well, Zach's 3 spirit, right?
Are you 3 spirit?
Little Larry? Yeah.
Oh, that solves some problems.
Why does that solve problems? I'm the connector?
Well, I'm the connector. I thought I was going to I need to connect with the hawk so that I can push it off with Homeward Bound.
Where's Homeward Bound?
Move all progress from a being to a feature.
Why you have to connect with it?
Can you connect with the hawk if it doesn't have the blue box?
It's a being. Just connect with a being.
No, it doesn't actually.
What?
It's not how it reads.
I can't connect with my homies?
Nope. Can't connect with the dog either. It says connect with the life around you to add progress to a being equal to your effort. But there's something about it you can't.
You can't add progress if there's no box that says progress.
So you can't sponge them.
Yeah.
Okay, well then that solves my problem.
Solves your problem.
Okay, that solves my problem.
Totally Random says you can do it, but he does not recommend it.
She.
Totally Random, yeah, she does not recommend.
Oh, my bad.
Totally Random Studios also has a great character that was being revealed in the live chat. Raccoon, dog, hawk. What's the other one?
I don't know. There was another one. Oh, Davy, saying you can't.
You can connect with y'all.
Ship it.
Now I gotta be a two-spirit. Two-spirit.
Zach saying he tried Homeward Bound.
Well, I think that.
Oh, dude, I get a ferret. Didn't even know that. Look at this guy. Pakoda
Yeah,
the
so
ferret.
Totally Random talking about getting the ferret as well.
This is where you're nailing you to the wall. No.
Dysphoria, one spirit shepherd sounds tier 2. I'd say Steven has written Steven all over it. Yeah. Maybe Homeward Bound isn't worth it.
Well, that's your only two picks.
Wow, check this out. Check this out.
I got the raccoon too.
This is the real combo breaker. Pakoda the ferret. Exhaust, discard a progress from this being to add 1 token to an aid card and 2 progress to another being. So if I do the thing that we clear and then move like 6 progress, then load him up, then I can just do this forever.
You could probably do that forever. I'm playing Homeward Bound. I'm playing it. I think we've got a little combo wombo going on here.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we're going to need to connect a lot. I really do.
I need to look at aid cards. I see.
Are we taking this into Legacy? Is this where we would be playing this? I'm doing the essays on shepherding. Nah, but the Essedex is so cool.
That would make sense. Does Legacy, do you start at day 1? Or is that a whole new book?
It's it's a whole new series of days, I imagine.
Like, is it day 1 or is it day 31? You know what I mean?
Good question.
I'm going to be a one spirit shepherd. I'm just over it. I've decided.
So is that Essedex?
Essedex is in.
Okay.
Especially because it adds 2 progress to the being in play.
You can peek at the rewards right here.
So I've got the nut rolled honey loaf. I've got the Essedex to add spirit. These are ways to add progress to the beings without having to actually connect with them. Thank goodness. Like a proper millennial. Totally Random. Could be a one spirit shepherd, but I wouldn't recommend it. You see, this is speaking my language, though. Totally Random.
They're telling you shouldn't do it, so we ship it.
So, maybe it'll work for us. That.
What could go wrong?
Okay, I'm locked then. I'm going to go... I think I can choose my aspect now, and that'll inform a lot. I think I'm going to go 3 awareness. I've got a lot of awareness tests to do.
Can you hand me this? All right. Well, we know spirit's got to be a 3. And we know that red's not going to be a 1. So, do I have any issues? There's no green cards out here. Looks like awareness is a 1.
You carry over your characters into Legacy. With rewards and all of that, Andrew?
Mm-hmm. He does say that there's one more.
He said you can carry over your characters. Importantly, can.
And if you start from scratch on Legacy, you get some tools to keep up because your characters are supposed to be awesome by then. Huh.
All right, so
that's fascinating. Okay, that's really good. Good to know.
Let's make sure this looks fine. Oh yeah, look, our 3s counter each other.
Perfect.
Perfect. Just like we drew it up on the board.
That's it. This would be really good with Oru, the sheepdog.
Pakoda or this card?
The Pakoda. Discard 1 from this being to add 1 token to an aid card and 2 progress to another being. And then
Sheepdog does 2 more progress through the bin, and we ship it.
And we ship it. That's it.
Just so you're aware, do you have any aid cards in your pool? They have them hidden in there?
I don't have anything yet. Should I get an aid card?
You don't have to. Just
like the Paratrepsis whistle. It's just like so. I want to get injured. I like it to be, like kind of scary. Each other card in play. Okay. So there's a lot of cards I can't take anymore.
that is what happens. Yeah. You start
okay.
cutting it off. So do you have the personality stack somewhere?
Yes, right here.
And don't forget the old outside interest.
You'll probably want one of these bad boys.
Yeah, you want him.
Yeah. Zach saying make sure you consider healing touch.
To who?
Probably me.
Shepherd. Yeah. That would be you.
That's another good way to...
Oh. It makes sense. You have to have a 3 in the stat to play this card. So there's only one of these I can. Magnanimous. A word often associated with me. I think it's a good word. I don't know.
Hey, that's right. You didn't do this one on the... Okay, these are all new to you.
Yeah, I was like trying to avoid spoilers and then got dragged back into it.
Got him.
Okay, healing touch. I can get behind that. Discard 1 harm from a being to add 3 progress to it. That makes me want to do something that can injure beings, though. You know, the old good cop, bad cop, basically.
Wait, doesn't Riri do that? I've heard about this.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yeah, well, definitely putting that magnanimous in there.
Wait, that makes the moving really good.
Vaughn's asking what we said about altered. That was like an hour and a half of conversation. So, best thing to do is just start her back up. I can't. We just go back into it. Whole new conversation. All right. So if I in my childhood and teen years was a tail spinner and learning that stuff, and then I became a conciliator. Mm-hmm. And I have these 2 roles I'm still choosing between. I'm magnanimous, of course. Now the personality cards are coming in. So you can do this in one of 2 ways. You can just look at the top word and see if you like that word. Or you can actually read the card. It depends on how serious you're taking this whole thing.
Really selling it here.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Wait just a minute. It's all coming together. Oh, I think I'm going to have to drop the Essidex.
What? This is so good.
They've made this difficult.
Perceptive. After you succeeded a test in which you committed this attribute, gain an awareness. Now, so this is what I'm saying. My character has 1 awareness. So if I play perceptive, I can get additional awareness, which is good mechanically. But a character with 1 awareness would not be perceptive. Maybe there wouldn't be any of these words.
Well, you could you once something's in your attention, you could perceive it well, you know. Like you might not be aware of the person walking in the room or sitting down next to you, but then you look at them and your high perception says, I know that they're sad, for instance.
You could be actually so perceptive you're not aware.
Yeah, you're so focused on perceiving that you're not.
Too many inputs.
Yeah.
Not enough clarity. Okay, we'll go with it. I like that I could be talked into anything.
Me too. Okay, I think we're going out on Essidex, in on essays on shepherding.
In on essays.
In on essays. Okay. Because with the essays on shepherding book, I can exhaust it to move a being. Mm-hmm. That can move the Sparrowhawk to Zach's location or to along the way.
Oh, the same area.
Then I can exhaust to add damage to a being in the same area. Mm-hmm. So over maybe 2 turns, I could get rid of the annoying stuff, which is nice.
Oh, wait. Magnanimous is my yellow card.
That's your big one. And then Deeper Connection, I feel like I have to have, because Riri's only got 1 harm, so it would prevent the first bad interaction.
Hey, there's my dear friend.
Yeah, you're right.
But then Healing Touch doesn't make a lot of sense because discarding 1 harm from a being. Oh no, wait, that makes sense because we would do that to the, and then we would.
Apparently, all the companions really are good together, according to the goat.
But I'm leaving out the dog.
Oh, Essays is an aid card.
Oh, so you can put stuff here with a ferret.
That's what I was saying. Do you have any aid
Yes,
cards?
I got one now.
Yeah, I can totally do that. And my role, I'm considering the spend an energy to add a token to an aid card.
What's that?
Voice of the Elders.
Do you have aid cards?
I have an aid card, but if I don't see it early, you also having one means that at least I'm doing something.
Yeah. And what's the Path Warden do?
Exhaust, either move a being, treating it as though it does not have ambush, or discard a harm from a being.
Got it. Got it.
He just looks cool. He's got a fancy hat. But the Voice of the Elders looks really cool.
And then Explorer. Okay, then I need 1 more for Explorer. So I've got my high lens goggles and photoscopic headset. That's my Scout package. Nutrolled Honeyloaf is going to synergize with the Scouting package to allow me to add 2 progress to beings that enter. Do you have anything that adds tokens to gear or food? Nutrolled Honeyloaf being gear is actually hilarious.
Is the food not an aid card?
It's not. It really should be, though. You want to house roll that?
Is Trail Mix an aid card? I think it is.
Let's see.
There it is. Yeah. Someone in my group has the ferret, and they load up my Trail Mix with it.
Well, that's interesting.
Which makes sense, by the way, because the ferret goes and like gets the ingredients and puts it in the Trail Mix bag, literally from the trail.
I do feel like I would be aided by this honey loaf, so I do feel like we could just house roll that.
As you can see here, the final art graphics and text are not final.
They're not final.
You make a big enough stink.
That bread sure looks like cake, and it sure looks good.
It does look good. I'm gonna have to eat something after this.
Yeah, me too.
I'm hungry.
Do
you have any good food with the Super Bowl last night?
Me?
Yeah.
I did not watch the Super Bowl.
Ow.
Wow.
I opened boxes of sorcery.
Wow. I mean, you're a hero, for that, but
I don't know how much I want to go into any of this, but
did Taylor Swift finally ruin football for you, Zach?
No. It's funny.
It was at least 25% Taylor Swift last night.
On the screen, just like I saw.
You could barely see the plays, dude.
Big uproar because she drank a beer on camera. Just crazy.
What are the kids gonna think?
I heard Usher killed it though.
Usher crushed it.
And Alicia Keys, right?
Crushed it. Yeah, Alicia was there. Absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, when the performers at the Super Bowl are from your childhood, that you've officially made it to a certain stage in life. But
it's like when you hear marching bands play the song you thought were cool when you were young.
Yep.
Yeah. My nephew is in marching band, and that I went to one of his competitions this year, and it's just like, I know that song. It's like, oh.
Yeah. That was a marching band version of Offspring.
Remember we were doing like Beatles and like any stuff from the 80s. Sad. That said, I didn't watch Super Bowl. I haven't been really into football in a while. Seemed like it was a good game-ish.
Wow, hold on. Your excitement is just
absolutely. Last I was really watching the Super Bowl was pre-pandemic, and the ad quality, which was the main reason I was there, because the team I traditionally rooted for, the Dallas Cowboys, have not been there in a long time. Had continued not being very impressive, so it was kind of losing its. Were the commercials good? That's the question.
They're all right. They're never impressive. You don't have the Clydesdales anymore, It's like, what's the point?
I was there for the Clydesdales. What'd you pick up?
Why does everything have to change?
Hey, Jesse's here.
Sharing the Valley secrets. Jesse from the Winning Agenda?
TWA.
Do you know that's a reference to Netrunner, the card game?
Believe it or not, I do.
I pulled the Winning Agenda many times in my life as a Netrunner player.
Jesse, this is the Earthborne Rangers.
It's a co-op game.
Does it come with an actual nut-rolled honey loaf? No, it does not.
How good does that sound?
Although, I have it on good authority that Andrew would make me one if I went and visited him in Costa Rica. Or Rachel would potentially as well. I think she's a great cook also. I know. Surprise. Number 3, how were the sorcery boxes?
Oh, they were great. That's for me. It was actually so. My wife actually enjoys opening. She does not enjoy playing very intense strategic games.
Sure.
But she does enjoy opening collectible products.
That's a big win. That worked out well for you.
And like she gets really excited when she opens something that she knows I'm looking for or that is just clearly good.
Very cool.
So anyways, we were doing that and it went very well. I got a foil ruby core, which I was very excited about. She also opened a philosopher's stone. But she's like opening her packs, you know, like doing this. And I'm sitting there and then she's like, what's this? She's like, you'll never believe what I got. And then she shows it to me and she's very excited. So it's fun. But yeah, they were some of the better boxes I've ever opened, actually.
Cool.
But, you know, hit or miss. It's a collectible way.
Yeah. Isaac, what's your personality? What do you decide on over there? I see them all sitting there.
This? Okay. Yeah. So I am versatile. And I like this. I have a lot of ways to soothe fatigue. So I wanted some amount of fatigue gaining here, even without creatures involved. But it lets me take a fatigue to give it all 4 icons, which is versatile. Oh, nice. Also balanced. After you succeed a test in which you commit this attribute, you may suffer fatigue again to gain an energy of any type.
Got it.
Seems good. Perceptive. After you succeed a test in which you committed this attribute, gain an awareness. And magnanimous. Before you commit this attribute, you may suffer fatigue. If you do, this attribute gains connect and conflict.
So you're not scared of fatigue, basically.
No, I need to make sure I can get it actually.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think I'm just going to lock in Voice of the Elders.
Do you have the rest of the personality cards?
I put them there.
Wow, there's a lot of these bad boys.
It's really not that wild. And then I have my 10 cards here. I don't have my outside interest yet.
Oh, okay.
I went through them very quick. There's just like 4 of each kind, basically, that aren't those sleeves. And there's a theme. Like there's one in each one that has icons equal to the stat, and you pick the one that's your max stat, of course, etc. And then I have my 10 cards here. I have my Dullwood loot. So choose a ranger that ranges 2 fatigue. I can do that 3 times, unless I can get more tokens on it. Which I just realized there's not a way to get more tokens on it.
Not on a gear, as far as I know.
So I get 3 songs. 3 strums. I've been saying this for a long time, Wayne. And John popped a comment. He knows it. He said, I think you guys need an additional mic and camera for Jonathan in the booth, which you can cut to at times. He's like your version of Howard Stern's Robin Quivers as he participates in the stream.
I totally agree. It's easy to get you mic'd up, and we've got that digital transmitter now. We can mic you up from space.
Yeah. Do it. I approve everything that needs to happen for this.
And we've got an extra camera.
Oh my!
And we've got that little tripod.
We already have the tools.
We have every tool we need.
What are we doing?
We would just have to come in the auxiliary mic on the Roland, and we'd be there. That's it. Easy mode.
We got an extra space back here too.
Easy peasy.
All my dreams can come true today.
Can you believe it?
Wow. I think it was really important. You guys may not know this, but you do now. I think it was really important. John was on camera late last year, and rather enjoyed it and had a good time.
Yeah, it went really way better than it should have.
He's been pushing back on the John cam for a while, but I feel like that wall has come down, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, people see my face. It's over.
I mean, they still just think it's Steven.
That's true. Yeah, so, I'm covered for you.
They would have run into you in person anyway and been like, hey, Steven. Okay, so I have a loot, of course. Stout-hearted Ranger. Love this art.
Oh, you hit a little Stout-hearted Ranger in there.
Attached to a Ranger's roll. Response after you exhaust your roll, you may soothe the fatigue.
Goodness, did you go this year?
No, I'm getting lost in the personality over here.
I have a thing I can attach to a roll card. 1 to mine, 1 to yours over time. And then it's a response after you exhaust your roll, you soothe the fatigue.
Love that.
Love that.
I'm going to be doing that every turn.
And
yeah,
a response, if you would discard your fatigue stack due to injury, you discard this instead.
Ah,
which you don't want to do.
That's an incredible card.
Yeah.
My man.
Then I have the Tireless Artisan. Shout out to the Earthborne team. Response, when a ranger tests, they soothe 2 fatigue. If that ranger has 5 or more fatigue, they soothe 4 instead. I just want stacks and stacks of fatigue, you see. Like endless fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Trail goes ever on. Attached to a location or feature. When you play this attachment on a feature, you may move it. Exhaust after Ranger suffers 1 or more fatigue. Add progress to the attached card equal to the number of fatigue suffered +1. You can see what we're going for here. And then, of course, go forth, Fearless Ranger. I don't know what it does because I don't know what we get for doing it, but it's in.
You just like the devil in that test.
Dang.
Yeah.
They've done something just very, very smart here.
I also like that I can play it and force them to take that test.
Thought you would.
I can't get Astute, but it's the card that I want more than any of these because I only have 1 focus.
What have they done?
Well, so like my goggles and my Sparrowhawk, they use the reason icon in addition to awareness to do their stuff. But I ended up on a ranger that's 1 focus, so I'm trying to find ways to add reason into my card pool because none of these cards have reason on it. So I'm like, oh, I'll take Astute. That'll solve my problem, but it's 1 focus. So it won't solve the problem after all.
You can't say you didn't try.
I tried. But I will get Insightful. I'll at least get 1 reason that I can swap a fatigue to put it back into my hand.
Also.
You're taking that instead of your 3 stat?
Well, I might take the 3 as well. Okay, I'll take 1 from each color? Are you crazy? No.
That is exactly how that works.
No.
Yes. Yeah. Have you ever seen the Intention Translator?
No, is that something else I can put on my head?
It's not for you. But
It's not for you, man.
this is my aid card.
This is not for
Exhaust,
you.
use 1 charge. When a ranger performs a connect test, commit an effort.
Connect test.
So I add 1 to a connect test everything.
That's incredible.
Yeah, especially with my Voice of the Elders card. I can literally change the energy to this every round and then just stack. Yeah, you get it.
And then you got the ferret too.
I do have the ferret.
So that helps Steve with his connects text as well.
I got you. I'm 3 spirit. I'll help you connect with the world. You just got to make sure I'm aware of things.
I'll do it.
I'll get lost without you.
I'll do it.
My dear friends, that's the next card. Of course, go get things. That's great. Follow in footsteps, also great. And then my 1, I think it's influential.
Deliberate.
The last card for me. And then I got to have an outside interest, which I need to look at in a second.
You get to have an outside interest, notably.
Get and need.
How are you looking on being able to traverse, like do the main location, add progress to trails, that kind of thing?
I'm 2 fitness, and then I've also got Trail Goes Ever On, so I can attach it to a feature, and then when a ranger suffers a fatigue, I get to add progress to it equal to the fatigue +1.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
And then there's another one that I have somewhere.
Bold is just one of the best cards in this game. There's just no getting around that. No getting around it.
So I follow in footsteps, which lets me add progress equal to my connect test.
Good. Okay.
That's the real.
So
ringer.
we're a connect heavy team this time around.
We're gonna be connecting all over the valley.
After you succeed. Okay, so I've got some choices to make. So I'm going to take Observant, which is the bomb from the Path of the Ancestors. Got to take that if you're 3 awareness. Then on my fitness personality, I can either take Enthusiastic, Bold, or Passionate. So Enthusiastic is just a good 2 icons that are always great. Connect and Traverse. After you succeed in which you committed this, if it was 3 or more effort, you can move a being. So that could be helpful if you don't have essays of shepherding out, or it could be like put the hawk out, hurt something, commit this to a test, move it back before the environment hurts it. There's some potential synergy there. There's Passionate, which gives me Recurring Heart to add to tests for the cost of 1 fatigue.
The recurring one.
And there's Bold.
I got so many ways to cure fatigue.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of it.
Okay. So if you have ways of curing fatigue, I'm definitely getting Deliberate. If I have 6 or more other cards in my hand, I'm going to gain 2 icons on this. So that's going to be solid. Let's do a Recurring Passionate. Let's do that. Suffer fatigue, add it back to your hand. You got to love that, right? Now, the weird thing is,
How cool is this guy?
You're gaining like temporary card advantage, but you're moving faster through the day. But then you draw the fatigue. So yeah, let's stick with passionate. And then let's go over here. I can be sensible. After you succeed at a test in which you committed this attribute, you may place a card from your hand on top of your fatigue stack to add it back to your hand. Hand, fatigue, fatigue to hand. Technically,
Zach suits fatigue.
that's never a negative.
It also, if we're soothing fatigue, it relieves some pressure on spinning focus to dig through deck.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you only have one focus. That's good. You're not going to have a lot of. That's like I'm your card draw.
You are my card draw. I'm the information.
I am the Senate.
And then we got sensible here, so that's a good one. Compassion is just a nice 2-heart.
Now you can't have sensible and this, right? Oh, it's just a different sleeve.
What? Different color of
I
card.
thought the new cards were sleeved with 3 here. I thought that was a new card.
There are new cards, but there are also new cards that don't have the 3 requirement.
Sensible, compassionate, thoughtful. This icon I've never really got a lot out of. Conflict. Just never done anything for me.
I think it's because it's like scout heavy. Like you need the icon to. Oh wait, this is spirit. What's the standard test? What do you do with it?
I think it's the avoid test.
Yeah, which makes sense. Like if you avoid of dealing with it, you don't need to avoid it as much.
Honestly, I kind of just need. Well, you just don't want to take thoughtful as your card, but man, I really need those reason icons. So I'm just a little scared. That's all. You know?
What do you need the reason icons for?
This test and this test are all reason tests. So I figure I'll be doing them a pretty decent amount. Scout a whole lot of cards, dump a card or 2 from hand, scout through 7 path cards, get the thing we need. Jet.
Off to the races.
So I'm just gonna be thoughtful. I'm just gonna call it good. I'm not gonna let my mind get in the way.
Now let me look back through here real quick.
Then for my outside interest, I know what it's going to be. It's gonna be from Traveler, and it's going to be Eagle Eye. The build is complete.
Oh, nice. So I have 1 gear slot I'm not currently using.
Oh, that's a joy.
So I'm looking for gear as an outside interest.
Cool.
1 pip gear?
1 pip gear.
1 pip gear. And there's some good ones, I think. Can you?
Is
Stewards
the Vale on Rangers?
Oh my gosh.
And is it an aid card?
What if, here's an idea. Here's a wild idea. What if we both had phonoscopic headsets on? We can both exhaust when any ranger scouts to increase the number of cards scouted by 1. All of a sudden, we're looking into.
Can you imagine 2 of us going around with these?
We're looking into the void.
Can we play Earthborne with some of those Apple goggles on?
That's exactly what we're doing. We would scout that path deck beyond.
Yeah, it'd be unbearable. We would get to it in 2 seconds. What are there any 1 pip gear that have the word aid in them? Asking for a friend.
Equip. I think I'm just going to put a 1 in here. Oh, no, wait. I think I can. Do I click it? No. I'm just going to say equip 1. Let's see what that does. And no text except for gear. Do we have to put gear in here?
Aid.
Trait. Aid. Okay.
Does it exist?
There is 1.
What is it?
Paratrepsis whistle.
Oh, and you know.
When a ranger would suffer an injury from a predator or harm would be added to a being by a predator, cancel that effect. I will tell you that would be tremendously valuable for me because this hawk only has 1 harm. And if it gets hit, you could whistle it away. Just saying.
Okay.
I can also take that.
Can you remove aid and see what we have?
Yes.
I can also do this if it's easier.
Well, you can flip through the new cards too. I don't know if there's any. Let's see.
Oh, right. We got to look through the new ones because we don't have those in the database.
We've got the Iron Wool Cap.
What prevents me from splashing it?
Only if it says expert.
Expert? Yeah, expert.
Let's see, I'll look for something through my system here and see where we go.
I've got some.
I appreciate it.
Oh, here's an alloy recycler. Are you going to discard your gear? Probably not. You're going to love this card. This is the Yes Pawn Shop of the game.
One of your equipped gear is discarded. I am about to loot, you know.
You could Empathy Amplifier. That's the conciliatory. You looked over that one already.
It's 2 slots.
Yep.
Is the problem. So interestingly, my loot, I don't have a way to recharge it. So I could.
Yeah, this is totally Excel's Pawn Shop energy right here. Look at Zach go. Look at him go. So wait a minute.
So the problem is that, and what is it? Gear is that's gear. It's technically.
Burn it down.
I also don't have a way to recharge this. I do have a way to recharge this. So I don't think the pawn shop's
Songweave Mantle.
Now I can't do that because it's not an outside interest.
1 pip 8 card. You can use your own thing for it.
That doesn't seem right. It's not outside.
That's outside the inside.
It's like go grab something from outside and then I take something from your kitchen.
Remote Sentinels.
1 pip, and so is that Essays on Shepherding. Is 8 and 1 pip.
Do you want to be the shepherd essayer, and I'll get the whistle?
Hold on. This card. Let me see.
Zach's gonna take the map. Grell Secret map.
By the way, I saw a map and I was like, I gotta take that map.
Is that? It's expert. You can't take it.
This is an expert?
Yeah.
Grell Secret.
Sorry, buddy. It's only for those who know.
Did you do your objective card? Yeah, you did. You got it.
Me?
No, Zach.
The Remote Sentinel is pretty good. It's like when your hobby is doing more of your day job, says Davi.
So that's...
It's very funny. It's very funny. There's no shaper cards you can take as outside interest. Did we figure that out?
You definitely can.
Ago? Really?
Yeah. Why couldn't you?
Manifestation, you don't know that.
Well, there's just so few of them that matter.
Yeah, we're going now. What? Have I seen this card?
There's a lot of those that you haven't seen, I think.
Slow Time.
Slow Time is awesome, isn't it?
Buddy.
How cool does that look, though?
Amazing.
Yeah, what do you think?
It's great. I just can't play it because it's a manifestation. So we're going to carry on.
Are you going to take the essays on shepherding? Hey.
I don't think so, but do you need me to?
No.
It would be funny if I had a shepherd friend and then I had a book to try to understand them.
Hey, you're the bard, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, dude, no, I read all about this. You're like a kinder. I'm choosing between these two. If you took one of them, then choice made.
That would make it really easy.
But Remote Sentinels is really cool too. Big fan of that, and the art is good. Really good. Tough choices, huh?
The fact that Steven beat you to the finish line on this is actually pretty amazing to me.
Those are all your choices, I think. Yeah. Well, I had a plan going in.
That's true.
I knew with the build that I was trying to create.
That outside answer still gets you every time.
That is the problem.
Yeah, totally random correct. Shaper cards, you could outside interest, but it's rare. Conduits are expert in manifestations. Need conduits to play them.
Definitely not this.
Okay, Alloy Recycler, out of here. That's a very specific kind of build. I feel like it's an artificer.
Just where the whistle only works on rangers.
No, it says being underneath there. Keep reading it, didn't it?
When a ranger would suffer an injury from a predator or harm would be added to a being by a predator, cancel effects. See, you got to read the whole card.
That's the advice we gave on the tutorial.
Yeah, man, every time. I'll take the whistle.
You take the whistle?
Well,
take the whistle or the book?
I need something. I feel like I need another aid card.
Does moving the ferret matter at all?
Mm-mm. What beings do we not want to move?
There could be like beings in along the way that you really don't want to move to engage you for various reasons, or you don't want them in the same space as other things that they'll like. You know that weird. Well, I don't know how much you've seen of the world.
And then fatiguing stuff when it goes from along the way to within reach fatigues you.
Yeah, fatiguing is a big one. So things that when they move into your zone, they do fatigue. Or ambush, is that what ambush is?
Ambush, you're right.
Ambush.
I don't like the math on this.
Yeah, the test is garbage.
Yeah.
That's why you're just supposed to put 8 on it with your other ability.
Mm-hmm.
You never do the test. But this works really well together.
Andrew's speaking truth too.
Andrew's
will prevent you
from losing your big fatigue stack. That's right. Take the whistle. Blow the whistle.
All right, we'll take the whistle.
Taking the whistle. I mean, it is pretty bardy to have a whistle or tail spinnery. You got a whistle and a lute.
Legally distinct. Here you go.
He's got that kick drum going too.
She
rolling in with a phonoscopic headset, Hydrolens goggle wearing lookout.
Yeah, I got
We're
my
just the
lute on my back.
and a hawk. Yeah, they're coming to town.
I gotta get a lute and I gotta learn to play it.
Gather round.
Easy before the next time we play this.
Okay, let's see where we ended up. So, where did I end up? I ended up, let me get the Explorers back in the Explorer stack. Okay, so that does give a pretty good example, Zach, of your deck building philosophy, and I think it's pretty good. Going.
Look at that character arc.
Starting down the chain a little bit.
Did you get the raccoon?
Yes.
I love raccoons, man.
You snuck a raccoon in there?
I got a raccoon.
I mean, he is a raccoon. He's sneaky, you know.
So here's the main thing that this deck is set up to do. First of all, it's revolving around scouting path cards. So my outside interest is Eagle Eye. So that's Scout 3, draw 1. Hydrolens goggles combined with phonoscopic headset. Phonoscopic combined with all of this stuff is going to increase the number of cards scouted by 1. So Eagle Eye scouts 4 and draws 1. Hydrolens goggles scout path cards equal to your effort, then draw 1. So my awareness is 3. I dump 3 into that test. I get a +1. I'm doing 5 cards with the phonoscopic headset and drawing 1. And then the Sparrowhawk has the test survey, scout path equal to your effort, draw 1 path card. So I've got a lot of different ways I can scout path cards. What's that?
This combo of decks is really good. Your scouting super heavy, so you can put all the features we don't want to deal with on the bottom.
Yeah.
And we're really good at connecting.
Yeah.
So like you just make sure the beans enter the table.
Bring in all the beans.
We can deal with that, but the giant mountain, cliff, rock stuff is bad for us.
It's not great. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But then
we'll just avoid it. It'll never show up.
Then we can transfer beings. We can transfer progress from beings to
yes. We can occasionally deal with them. Yeah,
is our idea. Now we both have 2 fits, so we should be okay. Questions here are like the Hydrolens goggles and the Sparrowhawk have basically the same test. So if I have both of them out, am I ever going to be in a situation where like I need to use both, or am I just using one? Like, are they doing basically the same thing?
Yeah.
Now these can run out. The Hydrolens goggles can run out. The hawk can die, or get
exhausted,
injured.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a backup plan, I think, for your main strategy. Then we look at our secondary strategy, basically Healing Touch, discard harm from a being to add 3 progress to it. Sparrowhawk adds harm to a being in the same area, and then Shepherding moves the hawk around. So I can move the hawk somewhere, I can use its ability to add a harm to a being, and then I can Healing Touch that being to add 3 progress to it.
Healing Touch is so good.
That's very good. Then we've got just some extra fun. Nut Rolled Honeyloaf is particularly good in a scout heavy build because it's at its best when beings are entering play during the ranger turn. And so during my turn, I scout, I draw a path card. It's a being, it comes in, it adds 2 immediately to it for 1 slice.
We're gonna be so good at finding people and clearing them.
We're gonna love it. Then we've got Toro with an awareness test that actually I have a 3 awareness, so it's very easy to do this. Scavenge, add token to a tech. If I fail, draw a path card. I think often I actually will want to draw a path card because we've set the deck up or because we know there's no bad stuff there. So I might actually want to fail this test on purpose. But also adding 1 token to a tech is always going to be good. So you can add it to the goggles, you can add it to the headset, even though it doesn't have charges.
To a tech.
And you have tech, I'm sure, as well.
I'm a low tech kind of bard.
And this is also like just a being that you can move around the board. You can also discard to put your ranger token on stuff, and that will help us both clear that obstacle. Because, as you said, we're bad at features, I went ahead and picked up Sharing the Valley Secrets. Exhaust each obstacle. Suffer fatigue equal to the number of obstacles exhausted this way.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because then I have ways to get the fatigue back and we leave. Also, that art is great. Reminds me of the Lord of the Rings.
It's so good. Thing. So good. And then lastly, of course, I've got the Vigilant Lookout ability is kind of the scout thing is all over.
Do you have a personality card missing? Like a...
Yes, I do.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Whoa, found it. We found it together.
This is your slot.
For personality, I'm going to be deliberate, observant, passionate, and thoughtful. So deliberate, you said you're going to be healing a lot of fatigue, which means hand sizes should be high. which means that this is a 2-reason
which
card.
is what you were after.
What I was looking for. Observant, also a 2-reason card. And these reason tests are going to be my scouting tests, so I want to make sure I have enough reason icons to support those. Observant, just an example of a card from the new expansion that is just excellent. So anytime you can get 5 icons on something, just do it. Passionate, it's going to be my recurring connect card. So if I need to connect and we have beings out, that's kind of our theme. It's going to allow me to keep doing that over and over again. Thoughtful, I can just get a reason icon, but I can commit it to anyone's test. So if you need to do a reason icon test, then you absolutely can. And lastly, we got Eagle Eye already. So I think that's it. And then Deeper Connection attaches to the Sparrowhawk because it only has 1 harm. And because it's a critical part of my deck, I want to be able to, A, it's an easy way to soothe fatigue if I need to, but B, it protects the hawk from the environment coming and doing damage to it.
And destroying the hawk.
Yeah.
And
then Piercing Whistle goes and gets either the hawk or the raccoon. And then these together means I can play 1 for free in hand. So you got to love it.
The perfect plan.
It's the perfect plan. What could go wrong?
The absolute perfect plan.
What could go wrong? What about you?
All right, so I've got Voice of the Elders. I can spend energy to add a token to an aid card, which we both have some of. We'll come back in a second. Of course, my stat card is kind of balancing yours out. Our ones are... No, is that you?
Flopped. I had to flop. So our focus is a little low.
Oh.
Turkey's a little dry.
Speak for yourself, man. My awareness is painfully low. Okay, so starting from the top with my gear, I have the Dullwood Loot. 2-cost spirit card. 3 times I get to have a Ranger Suit 2 fatigue. So that's just crazy value. Interestingly, I will want to use it and play the other one. I'm used to playing the Shaper where I play 1 staff and I don't necessarily want to ever...
And you just keep loading
That was the first card that went out of my deck when I got a reward. I've also got the Intention Translator. So I exhaust to use a charge. It comes with 3 charges. When a ranger performs a connect test, I commit an effort.
Wow.
And with my ability, I can basically turn leftover energy into tokens on this because it's an aid. So once a round, I just get to add an effort to a connect test.
We really just have no business being in the woods. We should be in town 24/7. I mean, just
do not go into the wilderness. Yeah, we're not
so geared up.
Rangers don't need to go in the woods.
We're not the outdoorsy ranger type, We're the indoorsy ranger type, the pub type. Then I have the Paratraps's Whistle, another gear card, and this is to just prevent harm that we're inevitably going to face as my last gear slot. Now, I also, of course, have a friend, Pakoto the Ferret. Discard a progress from a being to add token to an aid card and 2 progress to another being.
Yeah, that's really good. So connect with the ferret and then use those tokens to do things.
To do things. Then
pretty good with your intensifier over there.
Some key cards here. Follow in footsteps. So response after you succeed at a connect test, add progress to a feature equal to your effort.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is in addition to the test standard effect.
That's what I'm talking about.
So that's an important. What's the card that lets you play a moment over and over again?
Reverb block it.
Can you just pull that up real quick?
Is that worth taking?
Outside interest, main.
Oh, it's a 1.
It's a 1.
Zach, take it over the whistle.
You don't need that whistle. Get that. The reverb block is way good.
Take it over the whistle.
This whistle's gone.
Yeah.
Because
that opens us up to be outside rangers.
That's right. The reverb locket was all needed to be outside rangers. I have other moments too, which we'll get to in a second. Another card I really like is A Dear Friend. Search the path deck and discard pile for a human and put them into play.
Oh no, wait, hold on.
When the attached human is cleared...
Is it expert?
Everyone's saying it's expert.
No, it's expert. Ah,
what a bummer.
Bring it back. Where's the card? The whistle.
Back to
It's okay.
I don't know where it went. Here it is. Yeah.
Okay. Let's just.
All right, we'll just whistle this stuff instead.
When the attached human is cleared, move progress from it to any number of other beings, divided as you choose. So we search for something, then when we clear it, we can split the progress up, which is insane.
And it comes in because the nut roll comes in with 2 progress.
2 progress because of the nut roll. That's right.
The old nut roll. Okay, then
and the nut loaf.
I've got Go Forth Fearless Ranger. This is the objective. I choose a ranger to perform a test on my turn, doubling its difficulty. If they succeed, they soothe through fatigue, then record feats equal to the test's original difficulty.
Cool.
And I need 9 feats to
Wow.
earn whatever that is.
And you don't? Are you looking at it? Or you just
I want nothing to do with it. Stout-hearted Ranger. This is kind of like an attachment. It attaches to your roll. So I can attach one to you, one to me. This is the one that after you exhaust your roll, you can soothe the fatigue, which is really good. Then response, when you discard your fatigue stack due to an injury, discard this instead.
That's good.
Yeah.
We want to take a lot of fatigue.
That's what I was saying.
It's going to be short but impactful days.
Well, we're not built for the outside, so we're going to get it done,
We're going to find what we need
and
it's
leave.
It's going to take us 18 fatigue to get anything done, and then we're going to leave.
Yeah. The trail goes ever on, mostly included for the art, but also attached to a location or feature. When you place attachment on a feature, you can move the feature.
Okay, that could be good.
And then exhaust. After a ranger suffers 1 or more fatigue, add progress to the attached feature equal to fatigue +1.
That's great.
So if you take like 3 fatigue, we would just put 4 progress on something.
So as long as we're just trying really hard, eventually we'll succeed at the feature.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think we will be trying.
You'd love to see it. And then the last one is Tireless Artisan. When a ranger rests, they soothe 2 fatigue. If that ranger has 5 or more fatigue, they soothe 4 fatigue instead.
That's wow.
So we really are okay with fatigue.
That's awesome.
You know. Then my last what do you call it? Personality test is influential. When you commit this attribute while interacting with 1 or more beings, if the test succeeds, you may decide which of the beings' challenge effects resolve.
Cool. Love it. Using those new cards.
Yeah. And then Magnanimous, we already talked about earlier. Very good card. Perceptive. After you succeed at a test in which you committed this attribute, you gain 1 awareness. I only have 1 awareness, so I felt like that was a nice way to attempt to.
Do you have anything to spend that awareness on? That's something that was clever that somebody told me early on. It's like,
yeah, if it
even
matters. So my ability lets me spend an energy to add a token to a aid card. Okay. Also, you've got cards that are awareness tests, right?
Yes,
that
I do.
Are in play for me to interact with.
Yep.
Balanced. After you see a test in which you commit this attribute, suffer fatigue and gain energy of any type.
Yeah, that's good.
And then versatile. Before you commit this, get a fatigue, and then it gains all the icons.
Yeah, it gains all the icons. Beautiful. I love it. So what we can do here, and this is the cool thing about printing out these character sheets, is even though we have this is kind of various collections, you can write down, I'm going to write down this build, and then I'm just going to put this in my core set, and then if I want to ever play this ranger, I could just be like, or I can offer this to someone who's playing with, like, choose from my 5 rangers I've already built. Which one do you want to play?
Cool. Yeah.
So that's tight.
Yeah, because we won't be playing with these for a while.
Zach and Steven, I have a questions for you.
Question, yeah.
How many of your cards are sleeved at the end of the day?
1, 2,
sleeves?
3, 4, 5.
Is that the new cards?
6, 7. 7. I have 7 out of 15.
But I also have
all your Tailspinner cards are unsleeved, so you get kind of a pass.
You may tell you how many new cards I have?
Yeah.
So about half my deck was new cards, which is cool.
Pretty cool.
That's very impactful expansion.
The right number that you want.
Yeah.
Mine was 7.
Nice.
So we're both half, 50% basically.
Yeah. Now I am a tail spinner, so
yeah. So technically more.
5 of them. No, that's
oh.
So
Yeah,
5 are tail spinner, 2 are non-tail spinner new cards.
Cool.
But it was also tail spinner plus conciliator, and most of my conciliator cards were the older ones.
Nice. Only 2 of them was conciliator. 1 personality. Because you gotta take.
You gotta take it.
And you took 2 of the new personalities, right, Steven?
I think I did, yeah. I did indeed.
So pretty good.
Observant and deliberate. Very cool. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. It's been a good time. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Have
no
a great
stream
week.
next week.
No stream next week. We will be in Seattle. If you're in Seattle and you want to say hi, come to SorceryCon. Although it's sold out.
I was gonna say, is that a thing you can actually do?
You can't do that. But you might be able to go to the free play.
Or the lobby bar.
And and we'll be on the Discord throughout the weekend. So if you are going to SorceryCon, then hit us up and we'll be around. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining. Catch the Earthborne core set on our website if you still need it. If you're this far and you still need it, God bless you. And Gamefound, congratulations to the Earthborne team. Looks like they may crack into $900,000 by the end of this thing. That would be sweet. We'll see you next time.